Hello guys, welcome back to Proper Chap's Proper Chat. We are again with the Beardy Barber and his delightful lady. That sounds a little bit misogynistic, but never mind. Fiance, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we're back over here for episode 12. Thank you for listening to us and helping us grow this. It really means a lot to us. Today we are talking more about the Beardy Barber, and they're branching into something a bit different to your typical barbershop, which is really good, we think. Would you like to tell us a bit more about it, guys?
Yeah, why don't you crack on?
Emily, if you want to introduce yourself as
Yeah.
well before, because you haven't been on yet. You're
No,
the first
I
lady
haven't.
we've had
No.
on here.
Oh, I'm honoured.
She's heard it a few times now, hasn't she?
I
In the
have.
background,
I'm
waving.
normally in the audience, aren't I?
Front row seat.
Filmed in, live or
2 metres apart though, so it's been in COVID friendly atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm Emily. I'm in partnership with Carl from the Beardy Barber Company. We are going to be offering sensory cuts for children that have autism and sensory processing difficulties, and other children who just really struggle with having a haircut. I've got 2 children. They're both on the autistic spectrum, so I've got kind of first-hand experience. Yeah. And there's nothing else like it in Bedford, so we just kind of want to, offer that. Get children, able to come and have a haircut, sort of improve their skill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, build those relationships. I
hate having my hair cut when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon for young children to really dislike it. And again, like your sensory processing is still developing at that point, and that's how we kind of learn how to manage different things.
So having your hair cut by someone that's experienced and also knows how to handle children with those sorts of issues is ideal.
Yeah. I think we need to strip this back a little bit as to what this really means for people that aren't quite sure. So basically, you're going to be opening your barbershop, and you'll be specialised in children with difficulties with their behaviour or with their capacity.
I know all about this, so this is an education.
The good thing is, like I say, we are typical barbers in one sense, that we'll be doing your standard issue haircuts as normal.
Yep.
On top of that, we're obviously doing the academy to promote people especially struggling with jobs at the minute, giving them a new outlet to a trade.
Yep.
And it's a very good quick
I could
course.
do that.
And mate,
I had any money.
first hand I did it.
You haven't got the skill of holding a
pair of
you say that, but you probably would by the end of the 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean that horribly, but you'd just be like, first few days you'd be like, oh my god, what have I got into? Then after that, mate, like I felt, it was like you just fall into it. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, turns out you're not actually that bad at what you do, type thing. And you kind of get that confidence. It's a new trade.
I don't know. He did try to cut his hair the other day.
I'm insulted.
No, it was with a couple of weeks before you.
It was in quarantine, wasn't it? When I shaved my head.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, and I saw the amount that came out in a picture, mate. I was like, oh my god.
It was like skinhead bald.
Yeah.
He had a mental breakdown.
It's so quick though. It's mental. It's like I cut that.
Britney.
No, but I cut that 4 weeks ago.
I did. I went proper fucking Britney.
Would you use your daughter's head as an ashtray and stuff like that?
May as well have done. You thought about it.
I've always had hair, and I've always tried to build.
I've always had hair.
Listen, no, I've always
Since the day
had.
I was born, it's been nothing
Came
but
out
a
the
curse.
womb. Here it is.
It is ginger, but no, it's. I've always had longer hair. Like, I used to have my hair past my shoulders at school, and
It still is past your shoulders, depending on which way you're measuring it.
Bald, and I shaved it off, and I was like, "What the fuck have I done?"
I couldn't believe you did it.
You didn't mean to, though, did you?
No, turns out, well, you'll know, a 4 is different on a beard trimmer to what it is on a hair trimmer.
Yeah, it is, mate.
Quite a bit
but a 4 is still really short. A 4 is
4 mil.
Yeah, no, but it's still the same.
It's quite short. Yeah,
It's exactly the same on a beard trimmer. A 4 is just a very short
it's
number.
A short trim, mate.
It's just a very low number.
I always notice as well with like cheaper clippers. I only knew this until I actually branched into proper ones. They don't seem right, the blades, in comparison. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I was using like a 4 on my beard, and it didn't feel like it was doing anything. No, I had quite a long beard, do you know what I mean? But
That's
when I was chipping into
barber.
it, exactly. Well, it's weird, isn't it? It was like it weren't hard to like think of a name, was it? Really, in the end,
No,
it was like
that's
just kind of clicked. But then,
You're also branching into rap music as well, aren't you?
I am. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Yes.
Stan.
He's gone Stan.
I have gone full blown Malfoy at the minute. Yeah.
Eminem used to bleach his hair, didn't he?
course they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still does, I
So,
think.
yeah, no, I just need to find like a wizard stick now. And
Slick it back.
yeah.
Right, anyway, we've gone off course there. So you're
Or have
doing
we?
your regular barbershop, you're going to be doing
Yeah.
your normal cuts, your stylish stuff.
Mhm.
You're going to be doing your, what's it called?
The academy to
The
get
academy.
people trained up.
Yeah, and then
Obviously sensories.
How
one
much
of
is
the
it
big
for
things.
the academy?
I think it's on offer at the moment, so it's like £700 for a 2-week intensive,
That's not bad, is it?
which is exactly what I did. And
You didn't
for
fuck
me,
either
it's
of us up, so. that's
well, no,
fine.
it weren't half shit in the end. Do you know what I mean? I was even surprised in myself. I was like, it's all right, this.
It increased
But,
my confidence.
it
in my
did.
looks, yeah.
But question is, did your missus like it?
Yes, actually, yeah.
There you go. And that's what's
Yeah.
important.
Brilliant.
Because if I don't
at the end of
come
the day,
back.
the thing is, you don't look at your own hair half as much as other people. So as long as other people like it,
Well, I was complimented because your missus was like,
yeah,
didn't tear it apart. So
Yeah.
I was quite happy. I mean, it looks
Yeah.
different now, so she's obviously cut it since, but it's fine.
no, that's
I'm
it's not
joking.
been touched.
So.
No, it's just
Ah.
grow,
It doesn't grow.
styled
that
it different.
No, it hasn't been touched, mate.
I'm only messing, mate.
Mine
It's
hasn't
only
been
been 2
touched,
weeks.
as you can tell.
Yeah, you need to become
Skin
skin.
fade.
Yeah,
It's gone.
it's not skin anymore.
Oh,
You look like Harry and the Hendersons, mate. But
Oh, it's
the ginger
a bit of a
edition.
mess at the minute. But it grows so quick.
Yeah, I know.
So
Yeah.
quick.
I remember it when I used to work in the trade with you. It's like you have a haircut, and by the end of the week, I was like,
Yeah, it's completely different.
yeah, it just felt
Which
like a
is a
month
good
had
thing, because
passed.
hopefully I won't go bald anytime soon.
I don't think you've got any issue with that,
No,
mate.
No.
definitely.
So,
not.
Well, anyway, so we've gone off. So that's the
Yeah.
price of the academy, and then you're doing sensory. So
Yes.
sensory is difficult. But is it adults as well, or is it just kids, or what exactly does it mean?
mainly adapted into kids, but I have had a couple of autistic like adults as well. And to be fair, the feedback we've had so far has been amazing. And it's like
Yeah.
they're like friends for life now. They want to see us again. I've had one guy that came on the weekend with his autistic son, and his hair honestly hadn't been touched through lockdown, and he had the curliest locks I've ever seen in my life. But it was like honestly like down to shoulders curly. So you imagine what it's like when you like wet it out straight. It was just so long, and in my head I was like, well, this is new. Do you know what I mean? Type thing.
Big
But
job.
yeah, it was huge, mate. In the end, it's like having to tie it all back, get it all done right. Do you know what I mean? But he was sat there playing on Roblox, wasn't he? And he was all right actually. He had his like a couple of moments of anxiety, so I just stepped back. Even stepped out of the room at one point just to let him be with his dad and kind of be in familiar surroundings.
So
do you know what I mean?
that's sort of what it means. So people.
Being
Yeah.
sensitive, because I
It's
know
really like being in a way being oversensitive to their needs, if that makes sense. Because I don't think you can be sensitive enough, and I think if you're showing that appreciation, that you don't want to push them, and even if it takes 2 hours to do their hair, so be it. Do you know what I mean? As long as they've been calm throughout it, it's better than a 15-minute of trauma.
yeah.
That then they're going to go back
And they
and
were-
come
yeah.
back and be like, I don't want to go there again. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it's a bit more relaxed.
And what it
It's made
can
a
also
difference.
do is, obviously, I'm not an expert at this at all, but it would also, if it was, it's hard to put yourself in those shoes, but if
Yeah.
it was me and I had a shit haircut somewhere and it was a bad experience,
Yes.
I'd be like, that could traumatise you.
Oh,
to
Oh,
go
of course it
Totally.
would, mate.
And that's a lot of the children that we see have had that experience because they've had someone that's impatient or maybe a little bit too rough or not giving
Or just
them
doesn't know how to
space.
deal with it.
Yeah, and I think understanding is the key.
Just move it a touch closer to you,
Sorry.
because he's got a loud voice, you've got a quiet one.
Okay.
This is why we
It's the
want
first
those
time I've ever
standards
heard that,
out.
mate. Trust me.
Oh, no, I'm normally really loud. Yeah, understanding is the most important thing.
Yeah.
No, but it's even like the guy we had on the weekend, wasn't it? He's not had a haircut for 30 years because he
That's
had a
fucking
really
mental.
bad time when he was younger. And it was just like he put that trust to go, I'll branch out, give it another go. And he only lives on the high street right near us. But again, straight away, when it from the feedback's there on, like, so it's not just me saying it. He's even said we'll be back in a month. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be a monthly thing with his son now, who's autistic, just to keep that happy routine, if you know what I mean.
So that isn't something that all barbers offer. Then it is quite a
No.
niche.
Like I say, I think it's available to them. It's not saying they're not allowed to do it. If you know, you ain't got to
No,
be any
but
more
you're
specially
pushing
qualified. But we really want to reach out because one, you can treat it as a big industry, yeah, of course. Because I'm not being horrible. There's a lot of kids out there that are suffering with this. Do you know what I mean? In any kind of format. But we've not done it for that reason. It's just a case of
It's close to your heart.
yeah,
with your
exactly. Because we've got
children
the kids here that
Yeah.
do suffer with it, and Finn's been really good since I've done his hair. And
Right,
he
so-
was someone that went to one place only in Milton Keynes, which for us it's great. So obviously we ain't got to do the travel anymore. Do you know what I mean? And fork it
Or pay
out.
for
But
it.
exactly, and that. But it was just nice. Even before I was qualified, I gave it a go. Just literally kind of how you said, just one grade all over. But he was still like, oh, it's the best cut I've ever had. So you
in
kind of like
that
sit there and go,
sense,
brilliant.
What makes you guys? This sounds like a harsh question. It's not. It's just
Well,
so
we're on a blind side. We don't know what would
makes
come
you
across.
guys qualified to do it. What makes you guys qualified to do that over?
Well, you said, isn't it?
It's,
First hand.
yeah, it's first-hand experience. I mean, I've done some training with it too, some professional training. So generally with sensory, it's either sensory processing disorder, so basically the way you process your senses is a little bit off whack.
Yep.
So, or they call it sensory integration, and generally it's an occupational therapist that deals with those issues. So I've worked with some occupational, I've worked with some occupational therapists to kind of understand it more, do some training, and as I said, I've worked in schools. I've supported children, you know, sort of outside of the family, helping other families kind of understand it. I wrote some information specifically for parents.
Is this your book?
It is, yeah.
So can people find this, or can they?
We're looking at publishing it. Yeah, at the moment it's a request, but
Have you got it as like an online PDF or anything like that?
not at the moment, but again that's something we're looking at doing. But it's really top level, kind of an easy guide for parents, because it's so in depth. It's quite complex. I mean, to train to be able to actually treat children, you not only have to be occupational therapist, physiotherapist or speech therapist, you then have to do a master's in sensory integration. So it's not something that anyone could just treat children with that, but it's the understanding of it that's the biggest thing, really. So yeah, it's kind of that kind of experience. You've experienced it with the children, kind of understanding how to support them.
I think I've been quite fortunate. Yeah, it is tough, but I think I've been quite fortunate that I've been able to stay calm in those kind of situations. So when it's at their worst and the anxiety's high and they're stressed out, anything, you know, things
that stresses you out as well.
It can do, yeah. But the one thing, obviously, I think was like the fighting background and stuff that I had. No matter how stressful the situation, it taught me how to be calm with it. It's not saying I'm going to go and beat them up and I know how you're looking at me in a minute. I can read you. This is like he's going, yeah. All you're doing is choking them out, cut the hair quick, and they're awake. But no, I think it's allowed me to kind of adapt in that way. That I've just been able to. No, I don't look good at all, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
We didn't do our snacks yet.
No, we were going to get to that. So just relax, just wait there.
We'll get
on. So Carl, you know you can deal with those high pressure situations.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of helped. It's like even like with your daughter the other day when it was just like cuddled up having a chat, and even she was like drifting off a bit, wasn't she? Now it's either because I'm really boring, but she did actually say, she's like, you're so calming. Like you've got a really calm voice and things like that. When it starts to like talk quietly and stuff, and that's all I do with them is just kind of let them know that it ain't going to be stressful. It's not really loud in your face, which a typical barber's can be. Do you know what I mean? It's quite a loud environment. That's why we've got a cut-off room that is completely separate.
That's fantastic.
So that's how you.
So it's going to be like a boxed-off room that they're in the very back. If you know what I mean, away from all the hustle and bustle. They'll have a they'll have a console there.
There's not 8 corners in this room, is there?
No, there isn't.
It's not just an octagon.
No, it's caged, but that's it. But and there's a ring announcer weirdly, but it's fine. But no, we've got TV in there with like Netflix. We're going to have a console in there and stuff like that. So we're going to hit at least one thing that they actually like, if you know what I mean. Now whether they want to play a game and it's great, if not they might just say, oh, I really like, I mean, one of the kids I'm doing next week, he's really into F1, isn't he?
Yes.
So it'd be, for me that's great because I love the F1 anyway. So it'd be a really easy chat type thing. The one thing I'm quite pleased with, I've got quite a good knowledge with a lot of the outside world, especially with sports, because obviously I've grown up doing it my whole life. I live on Sky Sports News, and there's not really anything I can't talk about. Even if I haven't played it, I still kind of know who's who and what's what, if you know what I mean, to have that engagement. We're big film nerds anyway, aren't we? So again, if they're into a certain type of film.
Did you watch The Boys yet?
Oh mate, we've done it.
How incredible is that?
Amazing.
Didn't even expect it to be like that.
No, it was very kind of like
Jesus,
wow.
like I mean, the whole Homelander thing's a bit twisted.
Oh, no,
like with that, with the bird, I can't think of her
strong.
name. Like the one that he's
Maeve.
No, the blonde woman.
The boss lady.
Yeah.
Like the fingers in the
Very
mouth
strange.
thing, leaning out. I was just like, this
she
is a
was
bit.
mothering him, wasn't she?
But it's I mean,
because that's what he needed, because he was a completely.
Well, he's a chemical baby, isn't he?
Yeah,
So, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's built up. But I've got to say,
how have we made that transition?
Baby.
that is just priceless. I said that to you when it finished, and I was like, whoever thought of writing this child storyline of just lasering everyone, it's like, good boy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
It's
what?
amazing.
Oh, it's
It was
brilliant.
Some of the lines in there are just,
There's nothing else out
absolutely
there like
priceless.
it at
No.
all, is
It's
there?
only 8 days till the new
it
series.
is,
Oh,
yeah,
brilliant.
4th of September, isn't it?
And are they going to like bulk release, or is it going to be one
Yeah,
of
it'll
them
be
crappy
all of
one
So
at
the
a
question is, we've done that, have you watched Kingdom yet?
Kingdom.
No.
You've got to do it,
I
mate.
know.
We've even
I'll
got
tell
one of
you
your
what,
friends on
I'll
it
tell
now,
you
and she
what I
hates us
haven't.
now. She's like, damn you, I'm stupidly addicted.
Yeah.
We've got
I
the studio going up on the 4th,
Yeah.
but we've decided because we're going to be having guests round and stuff, we're redoing our whole driveway, and we've got to make our base bigger because it's 2
I'll tell you what, being unemployed is insane,
I know.
isn't it? What you can. It's
To be
like,
fair, everyone has just had 5 months off, and I ain't got a
Yeah.
new driveway.
No.
no, you know what I mean? He's got a new shack. He's got. He'll be rolling in a Tesla next week. I just felt.
Mate, if I win the lottery, yeah, I would.
Well, so funny enough, the guy that we're getting a place from at the shop, he was like, was talking about car spaces and stuff like that, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll be able to fit in here. He goes, no, I need this space because I need to charge my car, and it's a brand new Tesla. And you just like hate.
Rich
Do you know what I mean? It's just like, but he's such a lovely guy at the same time.
Oh,
really,
they're
but,
lovely. Yeah.
but yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did we go off again?
Conversations with
Yeah.
kids about movies.
Oh yeah, so it was
Yeah.
so you're gonna have your own little room,
Yeah.
specially devised for that. Is it gonna have to be booked appointments, or can people just turn up?
Mainly, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, if the availability's there and it's
Yeah.
potluck, but we will push more towards
Okay.
appointments only for the sheer fact we can prepare a room properly. Because
That's
if
what
we
I was
say
gonna
to
say.
them, "What's your kid into?" we can get the room ready for that moment. If you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Whereas, don't get me wrong, we can still do it off the cuff. But I'm not going
It's
to
more
lie. I think
natural if they just
I don't
Yeah.
think they want to do it
No,
off the
the,
cuff
the
either. going
difficulty
off
is
your-
as well is when we're talking specifically about autism is preparation and
Everything
planning.
has to be planned.
So what we tend to do with children that we've got coming up now is, again, we'll ask what they're into, because it's a social communication disorder essentially. So small chit chat, everyday chit chat is
Doesn't
really
compute,
difficult
yeah.
for them. Or generally, not every child, but generally. So if we find out what they're into, we can maybe have a look, kind of go, okay, we can then spark up a connection with them. So like Carl said, we've got a lad that's really into Formula One, which is great because Carl knows that, and he can then, you know, make conversation. And it's a connection because quite often, again, like I said, with it sort of just small chit chat's really difficult, but if you engage in something they're interested in, then you'll get a really good rapport and really good conversation with them. So that really helps. Also, generally, a really good way to kind of prepare the child is to send a picture of who's going to be doing their hair.
So
And
they
that
know
may
what to
seem,
expect.
may seem strange in some ways, but actually
Especially when
it's
you've got this
taking away
mug
that
being the picture.
it's taking away that the unexpected. So it's like, right, this is who.
So is it only you two that are going to be cutters?
At the
Only
moment,
myself.
Carl's
Oh,
yeah,
really?
just myself. Yeah.
Okay,
Because
oh, that's
obviously
good.
Emily's not qualified yet, but
No,
something
no.
we are going to get her to.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
so with
into,
that in
even
mind,
just for
say
that.
it's a busy day.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if a cut's going to take, how are you going to organise your bookings around a sensory booking? So someone calls up, I've only got 12 o'clock on Tuesday that I can do.
Yeah.
You look at your diary, you're already booked then.
Yeah, so if it's for a normal cut, like that I've already got, like stay in place and things like that, I'll just be like, do you know what? Someone else can deal with that because,
Yeah.
like, I'm not being funny. Like the likes of you and I aren't going to mind if it moves over to someone that's just as qualified and just
You
as
say that,
capable.
I suffer quite a bit with social anxiety,
Yeah,
and I'm the same. I don't like chit chat.
yeah.
I can't sat unless it's.
Says
I
the
know,
guy that,
I know.
that runs a podcast.
I know it's weird, isn't it?
I know it's very weird, but
No, but it's people you know,
I
though,
hate
isn't it? You
talking.
can't, yeah.
No,
So
if
I'm the
it's
same.
people I
Like, I'm
know-
exactly the
But
same.
if I'm sat in a barber's chair and someone's trying to talk to me,
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I just want to
Who-
get my
who are
hair
you?
cut and leave
Yeah,
because
and
I'm not.
I'm the absolute opposite.
Yeah,
You
you'll
like a
talk
really
your ear
good-
off anyway.
And that is a massive difference, really. And again, you've got to. I mean, you.
You're like little and large, everybody.
the opposite though.
But you know, like you say, just as neurotypical as we described people, that is something that happens anyway. But you're talking about a sort of more extreme.
Heightened experience.
Yeah, exactly. So, as Carl said, I mean, we'd hope to have someone else trained as well, but we would also hope that, again, with the planning, we won't probably get bookings on the day. We probably get that, you know,
2
again,
weeks in
which
advance.
is
A
why
lot
we
you've got
can
to set away.
then-
A lot of other
Have you
things
thought
you
about
can-
just doing a specific day that is you only stay in that room and all day it's filled with.
I think we want to get to that point. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
initially it's going to be too hard to let it start that way.
It's
But I
building
mean,
that
yeah,
client base, 'cause it's
exactly.
not-
And the other thing we're still going to do, even though we've got the shop coming, is the offer of going to their house or our house is still going to be on the table. So mobile cuts will still happen, and a lot of kids do feel more comfortable under their roof with their family in a surrounding that they know. So there's
So
we're
with
still
that
going to
in
be able
mind,
to do that.
say that I'm like role playing.
Yeah.
So I'm a dad. I've got a son with
Autism.
sensory, with autism, and I want my son to have his hair cut by you because I love that you guys are doing it. You're the only people that I've found that do it. I live in Cambridge. I want that cut being done at 5 o'clock on a Friday evening.
Yeah.
How much does pricing of that then change? How do you price that?
It's really mileage in that case. To be honest, it's kind of the price of the cut wouldn't change. We charge slightly more for a sensory cut because we need to allow a little bit more time.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that.
Yeah.
But
So
it's
it's
literally
not-
the basic at a couple of quid more. So
Yeah.
we're not talking like it's
No,
another cut on
it's-
top. You're
it's-
talking you're going from 8 quid
Which
to
is
10
good
quid.
because a lot
Do you know
of
what I mean?
people, especially if a lot of barbers are self-employed and rent a chair, don't they?
Yeah.
So they want to be doing as many haircuts as they can and getting them out the door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for you to actually take your time out and know that these kids or adults are going to get.
And I think that's
a
another
good
reason why we
experience.
want to take it away from them, because for me it's not as much an issue because theoretically I'm not really renting a chair.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So I can
This is
afford
our
to
business,
lose
yeah.
another half hour of business, whereas probably more in a selfish sense for them. Yeah, if they don't want to lose, because that's another
because
cut,
that's
that's
money
another
in your
15
pocket,
quid.
isn't
Do
it?
you know what I mean? Instead of
Yeah.
losing out type thing. So that's another reason why I kind of want to take it away. 'Cause it's not a burden. Do you know what I mean? Because I'll enjoy it more anyway. But if it allows him to kind of get on with a day-to-day basis of doing the same cuts all the time, I prefer it because it kind of breaks your day up in a more positive way, if that makes sense. So it's
got to have
just
a
something
good
different.
feel-good factor as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
To help someone that, like you said, didn't have a haircut for 30 years or
Yeah.
something, that's just suffering. But is it? It's hard because I don't know. Is it like a really high anxiety, or is it something different with autism?
It can be a mixture of loads of things, isn't it?
Anxiety is a big part of it for a lot of children and adults. I think obviously with children, some types of autism, particularly like we said, you have to be very structured, very planned.
Almost
You have to be
OCD
aware
like.
of,
Yeah.
and it's like things like as well. What we would do is if people would come into the barber shop, we would have a set video to show them the area. Because they'll see the front of the shop, they'll say,
So you'll
right,
send
that's
that
what
beforehand?
that's what the shop will look like. This is who's cutting my hair. This is what's going to be in the room. This is what's available to you. Because you take away all that unknown, excuse me, that kind of helps with the anxiety.
You give a bit
I
of
think-
familiarity.
Yeah.
I think what we want to
Is
do
that-
as well.
Yeah, that's
swear
the
I've
word
got
out
that
there in the
wrong.
end. Yeah. But I think we want to do like a video as well, don't we?
That's
at some
what I said,
point.
yeah, of just to show
Like
the
a walk around. This is
That's
where you're
it,
going to
yeah.
be going.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
the chair. This is the
all
whatever.
things like that just help reduce anxiety. Now that's not taking it away, but the idea is like Carl said, we want to include mobile, but the ideal scenario would be to be able
Getting them
to
used to.
transition them to come to see us,
Yeah.
because these are all life skills at the end of the day, and if we can be with them throughout those developmental stages to help them with that, you know, we could have a client for life. So it's investment in, you know, as much as their development as in, you know,
Yours as
customers
well.
for us. Yeah, exactly.
So I might be a bit naive here. You said that you dealt with adults with autism. Is it something that people not necessarily grow out of, but get used to as they go on in life? Is that because they're getting sort of more
To be fair,
prepared?
you don't see anywhere near as many adults with autism as you do children.
I think
Well, it's
that's
not-
down to
yeah.
diagnosis, to be
Yeah.
quite honest with you. I think
And then medication then, or
no, it's not. There isn't medication. I mean, there's antidepressants, anti-anxiety, all of things like that. But it is neurodevelopmental, so it's just the way the brain is wired slightly differently. And obviously, for certain people, that can be more severely affected. So you might grow up and become an adult that is more obviously struggling. But also, sometimes you don't get diagnosed as a child because it is more subtle. But you may suffer with more depression, anxiety, social anxiety.
I tick all
Just
those
kind
boxes.
of,
No, no. That's
Every
what I
single
said.
one.
you know, and you know, it is learning management techniques. So you don't grow out of it, it's always there. But some people are probably, I don't like to use the word high functioning because I think there's swings and roundabouts because actually you can look neurotypical but actually be really struggling inside. But
maybe that's the reason that you don't see so many adults, is that you learn to deal with it a bit better, even and maybe hide it.
Yeah.
Up until recently with diagnosis, I think there's one centre down this way anyway. There's one centre in London, and unless you cannot hold down a job, they will not see you. However, there's a centre in Bedford. Actually, I think it's in Clapham now, that will assess adults.
Right.
And looking at the more you know, functional, but are struggling in certain ways to kind of help them to understand what's going on with them. So it's becoming better.
More mainstream. Because I suppose there was a little bit when we were younger, but even
It was never really spoke about though when we were kids, though, was it?
I honestly don't think it was as much. I honestly don't think it was there as much.
Or maybe it was just
I think it was there, but it was never. It was labelled as something else. Yeah, that's it.
That's
I think that was a branding, right? Oh, your kid's being really irritable. He's just a nuisance. He's just this. Do you know what I mean? Anything like
even
that.
the more severe cases, because at Party Man, where I work, my day job, we do sense sessions.
Yeah.
So twice a month actually. It's just either before we open to the general public or after we close. We do a sense specific, so parents can come in with their children free of charge and use it. Yeah, but obviously there's some very severe cases in children that I honestly do not think I saw at all as when I was a child, and in comparison to now, how often you do see children with conditions that are mental.
We had
a lot,
There is that. I also think that back then those children were put into specific.
See, that might be what it is, just taken out of society.
You've got a whole integration society now where so many more children are integrated into mainstream. Yeah. So we're exposed to it, which is great because
that's probably what it is.
I got exposed to it mainly because in our class at school there was one kid with Asperger's. Is it the same thing or not?
Yeah, autistic spectrum.
Yeah, so he always had his helper there.
Was that the guy that could quote every Simpsons cartoon?
No, it was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Okay, yeah.
What was his name?
Love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy now as well, and I never would have known about it if it weren't for him.
Yeah.
What was his name? Was he the ginger guy?
No, he was like a really tall guy. I can't remember his name.
I can remember one lad from school that was clearly very severely affected with, I think it was autism. Yeah. And you could name to him just a random Simpsons episode, and he could word for word quote the entire episode. Like Rain Man. Yeah, it was good.
Maybe I have got it.
You're very good at the quotes. I think
we watched that last night.
Yeah,
weirdly.
we did. Yeah.
Very great or good.
I think
Emily, my daughter, said that to Stacey the other day.
Did she?
Was
that when she's pooing in a bush?
Yeah.
It's very great or good.
Poor Emily, she's getting exposed. I think.
Wait till she's 18 and she listens back on this.
He was a right dick.
Still is.
What
makes you think that you've changed by then?
You never know.
I think that this is why we kind of want to know what interests people have, because quite often, not always, they have a specific interest, and it can be sometimes quite
quirky and different.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, my son has always been Xbox, so it's quite a mainstream thing, which that's his thing, that's his safe space, and that's what it's a lot of it's about. They feel safe with that subject. Yeah. So actually, if you can engage in that way,
can that go the complete opposite way though? So, say for example, you did have a child that really liked Xbox, and then you brought up a specific game that they absolutely hate. Can that just then kill the vibe, and all of a sudden?
Again, it depends on the child.
Yeah.
And it depends.
I think it depends how you approach it, everything like that.
Yeah. And planning. If you turn around and their mum or dad turn around and say, "Well, actually, he loves playing Call of Duty, or he loves watching Pop Fuzz
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever it is,
Yeah.
and you have that ready for them because everything's available now, isn't it? With
Easy.
streaming
It's
sites.
easy to download. Do you know what I mean? It's so
Exactly.
simple.
So easy. But also we do ask if they've got any particular dislikes because we
Yeah.
don't want to
I
trigger
think that's
that
really
either.
important.
Because
Will you
it
have
could be
chocolate there?
Oh,
Chocolate and snacks and stuff for them.
in the middle of something.
Oh, sorry, it just comes to
You
my head
have
about.
chocolate there. Because I will be there.
I will.
I will show you my disability card, and I will.
If there's certain foods and stuff, because you said it's very much sensory. So if you've got drinks that they like, or chocolate, or crisp, or whatever
Again,
it is.
I mean, it's just about talking to the parents, understanding their child needs, and it's just a bit more of a conversation.
Dairy milk.
How old's your child and what's their hair like? You know, there's just a little bit more to it, but it's really easy, and actually parents really appreciate the consideration. And
That's
had
where we've got
really
really
good
good feedback before we've even done a cut.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's amazing.
No,
Definitely.
that's the same as the soft play centre. As soon as they announced that they were doing that, everyone loves it because it is, like you say, we are trying to. Everyone is trying to make it more mainstream now and not hide.
And they shouldn't have to. Do you know what I mean?
No, you
And
definitely
I think
shouldn't.
even with adults, we're not wired that much differently.
No.
Without the label above us, but if you started chatting about something I didn't even have any interest in, chances are I'm not going to engage to my fullest. I'll just go, kind of thing, hear you out. But if we, like you say, we both like Hot Fuzz. If that came into conversation, all of a sudden for 20 minutes, I'm cutting your hair and we're chatting about that. Do you know what I mean? But if I was to say to you, did you watch the women's netball yesterday? Chances are you probably have because it's women's netball. So if I said, did you watch the adult volleyball team yesterday, you'd be like, no mate, why would I want to watch that? Do you know what I mean? It just killed the atmosphere.
Will you have chocolate there?
Well, there's original.
Ash is there,
No, that's Werther's originals for my dad.
Okay.
Every granddad needs.
No, I like
Werther's
that though.
originals.
I think it's really cool what you're doing, doing that.
No, it's exciting.
definitely.
So people say, I think this is what you're pulling up now
I'm
about
pulling out now.
the spectrum.
The pyramid
From-
scheme that you've just.
I know this is if you want to get involved with our business now. So just moving on. It's really easy. It's not a pyramid. It's an upside down
It's a
triangle.
cone.
House on the
Yeah.
It's a cone.
I think autism is quite complex. There's the autistic sort of spectrum umbrella is quite large, and there's quite a few different types, and it affects people so differently. Originally, they felt it was kind of like a line, and you were here if you was like what they would call low functioning, and you were here if you were high functioning. But what they've
What's
realised.
the difference in those two then?
So, again, I don't like to use it, but I suppose you're just looking at severity of how you
handle situations.
Yeah, basically. So, for instance, some people with autism can be non-verbal, which obviously can make life really, really difficult. They have language difficulties, they have understanding difficulties. So their language might sound great, but actually their understanding is impaired.
Okay.
But what they look at now is more of an actual circle in terms of the different areas that can be affected. So it's a lot more complex than just.
So like one of them triple
ally.
circle things where they all mix in.
That's
and
it, yeah.
In the middle,
Totally
you've got like
Yeah.
Rain Man sort of level where it's just everything all in one.
Yeah, and I think that you always find, because we're all individuals at the end of the day, so everyone's going to be slightly different. There's no one. I mean, you can look at it as a sort of generalisation, but like I said, that's why we ask so many questions, because everyone can be so different.
Then from a business point of view, that is a lot of work for what you're effectively getting for £10-12.
Yeah. 100%.
The
But that
hours, phone
£10
call.
can come over and over and over and over again. Whereas,
And I guess you
know what
only
I mean?
need to do the digging to find out what that specific
'cause
person
if you
likes
make
once.
notes
That will be held
That's
on their
it, it'll be on their
record.
record.
Yeah,
And then
so you'll know.
obviously, we'll ask if there's any changes, because sometimes things change, they move on to something else or whatever. But
Natural progression.
yeah, definitely. But with, talking about sensory, we've called it sensory cuts because actually sensory processing difficulties can affect anybody, not just people with autism. And like I said before, it's kind of where our brain is processing our senses, but with some people it's just slightly off, and it could be off with one sense and fine with another. It's quite complex, and it's like part of the central nervous system. But what this really interests me, I know it's visual, so sorry because I know this is audio, but just to give you an idea
Have you got that on a computer?
I have.
So if you send it to me, I can put it on the YouTube videos.
There we go.
Brilliant, that's great. So it's basically the pyramid of learning. So what it does is shows you what the basis you need for any kind of learning or you
So
know,
starting at the top or starting
at the bottom. So you're looking at your different senses, and these are fundamental to be able to do everyday things.
I was just reading
What
about
on
that.
earth is...
It's got here that
So I'll go
you've
through
got
this.
eight senses rather than 5 senses.
You've got
Yeah.
loads of senses.
Okay.
You've got hundreds of different senses.
It always, sorry, it's a bit off topic, but have you seen the pictures on Facebook where it's like you can't hear an image and then you see it and you're like in your head you
can hear it,
like
yeah.
that. Yep.
Yeah. And again, we're all different how we process stuff, and it's kind of just going through them quickly. Obviously, you've got visual, sound, smell, taste, which are some normal ones, tactile, so how we process through feel.
Feeling, touch. Hence what this big.
Now
thing
I've
is.
got some fun things.
Yeah,
for
we
us
didn't
to-
kill an evil minion.
got some fun things to play with. You've got vestibular, which is kind of like your balance. And then you've got proprioception, which is kind of where your body is in
What's
space.
that?
Proprioception.
Proprioception.
So
Never even heard of that.
yeah,
No?
again, these are quite specific terms, but it's really just really how you are in space. So you get a lot of people that sometimes bump into like wall doorways, things like that. It's that
So like
kind
depth
of,
perception and
yeah,
stuff
like
like that.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So being able to sort of feel where you are in space.
Yep.
And then the other one, which is a bit more unknown, is interoception, which is internal kind of feelings. So things like whether you can tell if you're full from eating or not, your anxiety.
That blows my mind
Yeah.
to think that there's people that can't dictate their self whether they're full or not,
Yeah.
and just continue, or even hungry, because that must be
Yeah.
the same thing. Hunger. That's a sense.
It is.
To
That's
feel
like one of my
hungry.
biggest senses, mate. Like I have 2 slices and I'm like,
Yeah.
like that. Do you know what I mean? Like game over.
Get hangry as well.
Huh?
Get hangry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is, you
Bad for that.
imagine. I mean, my son used to be terrible in that he couldn't tell when he was hungry.
Yeah.
And his verbal skills were amazing. You could have a full, there was no, but the understanding of what was happening inside wasn't there. So you get to a point where you're going full on hungry, but not actually going.
I'm hungry. That's
I need
why.
to eat.
Mm.
And that took a while to develop.
Yeah, how did you deal with that?
I mean, with things like that, it's talking and trying to understand the feelings of hunger, which is hard because it's different for everyone. But it's kind of going right, you might be feeling like this, or even you set like a sort of bit of a timetable as to when
So
to
you
be
know,
ready.
I'm eating at 7 o'clock, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock.
Yeah, stuff like that. But again, it's
You're trying to work it out.
Trying
Yeah, I was
I'm
thinking.
going to start at 7 at night.
In
at
my head,
midnight,
yeah, it was 6 and 7 that were next to each other. I was thinking, what? You know, breakfast, dinner, lunch later.
What's the
yeah.
second breakfast if you're a hobbit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I quite often have a
Right.
second breakfast.
7, 9, 10.
Yeah, so you just got to put in routines, haven't you? It's 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
With chocolate.
Will there be chocolate?
Will there be chocolate?
Yeah. So that's
So all of those are kind of like your basis to be able to sort of generally function in most situations.
yeah.
So if you're a bit out of whack on one or all of those, obviously being able to go to school and learn, or being able to go in a public place, a busy place, it could be so much harder.
ability to screen input mean?
We're getting to that.
Again, yeah.
Spoilers.
No. Again, it's just how our body screens like a sensory input. So, like I said, I could touch this, for instance,
Yeah,
which
shall
is
we
really
I
It's
guess
all
that's the light in the eye, isn't it? Like the doctors or something. So if you've had a knock on your head and they come and that's to check your pupils if
That's
they're
checking your
dilated.
pupils dilated.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's nothing to do with how you react
You
to
do
the
that,
light.
and it's like autistic.
Put a
If it was that
laser pen in
easy.
his eye. Yep.
Well,
He's blind now.
Yeah, not best way to test it, but I think it's about how your body interprets the input. So, as I said, if your body's not interpreting the input correctly,
Yeah.
you can have an adverse reaction.
If they're just staring at lights, for
Yeah.
example. That
Yeah.
actually reminds me of something yesterday at work. We've got these buzzers that for food, so for our tables, and they're really loud, really annoying.
Oh mate, don't they vibrate?
Yeah,
Like
they
proper?
go mental.
Yeah.
and
Yes,
it's
yeah.
ridiculous. You can hear it from one side of the building to the other.
Yeah.
So one of these buzzers is going off, and this 2-year-old girl's walking down with her mum to come and get her food, and she's got this buzzer right at her ear, and I've been like
Serious?
pushing it against her ear.
Yeah.
And I actually said to the mum, I said, that is crazy. How
Yeah.
I said,
Yeah.
is she all okay with her hearing? Is it anything that you've ever looked at? And she was like, oh no, I've not really thought about it. And then she sort of had a step back and looked at her child with this thing that was annoying us from 15 foot away, and with her completely pressed against her head. She was like, yeah, that's actually something I'm going to have to look at now, because that is not, you shouldn't be able to do that.
No.
Yeah, I mean, using that as an example, if we are talking about sensory processing rather than any
A physical
sort of,
ailment,
yeah, exactly. Then you get people who are what you call seeking sensory input.
Okay.
So sometimes people just don't react; their bodies aren't reacting to it. So it's like almost like a low level reaction to sensory input.
So they're trying to stimulate themselves a bit more.
Yeah, that's it. So it's almost like I need.
That's just giving me the worst look going, will there be chocolate? I need to stimulate.
Yeah, no, so that would be a way that you could turn that.
That's, you know, if that's, and again it's kind of regulating, so she may be going, I need this sound because it's actually making
It's probably
me
a comfort thing.
It's regulating my sensory input.
Again with lights, so we have a little sensory area which has just got like crazy lighting on, on like big mirrored items, so that's, so again that would be how they react to that, I guess. On
the flip side, you could be over stimulated with sensory input, which means you kind of have to.
It's another Robin situation.
Robin! It's because I'm using the word stimulated. I should change that really.
Ash is glowing. Look at him.
I'm listening.
He's overstimulated.
His shoulders are just juddering.
I've just got a tick in my leg.
Oh, okay. Is that what it's called, is it?
not the bug, but
I haven't
got Lyme
That's
disease.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, I need to stop paying to your GoFundMe then. Right, yeah, so
being overstimulated.
So the idea is to balance it either way. Some people swing from over to under.
Do you think is that why you see some children and some adults? Like I do it as well. When you're walking past a wall, you'll like put your hand out and you'll feel it and you'll touch it. Is that?
Oh mate, if you take Emily to B&M, everything's being touched.
Touch everything. And
I'm not even being funny.
Not everything. Every product on the shelf, should I say, Lewis? But
don't bring me into this.
It's humans as well, mate. It's just like, hello.
I have to touch the staff.
He's bold, I must touch it.
What's that Little Britain with the?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, let's not associate that with any sort of.
Jesus,
It was just
No, that's really cool then. So that's so you've obviously got all your stuff. You've got your little booklets about it. You're definitely qualified to do that. So that should give people that are interested a lot of faith in you guys.
And if they haven't, there'll be chocolate.
Yeah.
If all else fails.
If all else
Cadbury's.
fails. I mean, don't promise that, guys, in case there isn't chocolate.
That's true.
You've just said that on here.
Right.
They go, look, we weren't really interested.
You turned up for the
but
chocolate.
You said there was chocolate. Yeah, we've got no chocolate. All hell breaks loose. You've got clippers going through windows.
What's your board about?
Okay, so these are all little bits
I'm not
that my
bored,
daughter has for her sensory stuff.
Strawberry.
I'm actually really.
No. We didn't get into snacks. We'll do that at the end.
Yeah, we can do that at the end.
What have we eaten?
What do we indulge in? Yeah.
So really, this is
Was
just
there chocolate?
what
I think the best way, touch this with your eyes closed. It doesn't mean, I don't mean, alright, I'm not going to hit you. It's like, but it might heighten
You said that before though, ain't you?
Yeah, I've done it before. Something hanging over the shoulder. Picture.
You just got a range of.
Oh, it spins. Oh, it spins.
I was reaching
For my next trick.
What? This should have been on the Ghosts and Ghoulies episode. Moving by itself.
Hey, look, Robin.
So you've just got a range of different.
He's gone for the furry balls
balls
straight
feel
away.
really
Yeah, furry balls.
Grandad, is that you?
Oh, it actually is. Get out of
You
there.
can't help yourself. Again, this is about. I mean, I don't know.
Is that meant to be put on there?
Yeah, that's like a rubbery. So it's just all different textures, and again, it's about sensory regulation.
Oh, I'm not sure I like that one.
That's like kinetic
Oh,
sand.
I don't like that at all.
No. But
If you know the chalkboard effect,
Well,
if I rub my nail on that, I'll get.
I was going to
I'll
say.
get
We
that.
talked about it earlier, didn't we?
So, to give you an idea of how difficult it is for people with sensory processing, you've just said about the
Nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah.
just imagine on your day to day,
Everything
you
was
kind
giving
of
you
got
that
that
reaction.
in your head, and as your stimulus around you increases, like busy places, stuff like that, that just gets worse and worse. And how well would you function in your day to day life
If
with
everything
that?
gave me that
We've
reaction.
now-
That's horrible. I don't get that with the nails on a chalkboard. I could listen to that all day. Doesn't affect me at
No.
all. But if I get the corner of my nail, if I'm
Do you know
like
what I
reading a
hate?
newspaper,
Feeling-
And you get that
if I
feeling
on your-
scrape it on there, that's it. If I
Yeah.
scrape my finger on a piece of newspaper, that's it. I'm like,
We've now lost Ashley for about 10
Yeah.
minutes. 'Cause he's
Yeah.
not-
I'm the same with
oh, that
polystyrene.
feels nice.
Yeah.
If I've got to unpack a telly or something like that, I'm like, fuck.
Do you remember
this.
the amount of
I
boxes?
hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
No,
It
do you
just-
Yeah.
remember
It
at
gets-
Mini?
I don't
the
even
amount
like
of
TV.
boxes we had with all the POS and all that. And it was just full of polystyrene. Me and
I
you were
hate
both
it.
the same. We're like,
Yeah.
I
Like
don't
that, do you know what I
mind,
mean?
but
It's
it's
like
so weird
minging.
how everyone's affected
Yeah,
by
so I
different
don't mind
things.
that at all.
Yeah,
I had one of these when I was younger.
Mate, if you ever need any
you?
polystyrene
Yeah.
taken
But
apart,
mine was
I only charge you 30 quid. Oh,
Only.
that's quite nice actually.
mine
Yeah.
had magnets.
Well, see, that's that you'd say that's quite rough.
Did it?
For me,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
quite comfortable.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, see,
I
I
quite
prefer
like that.
something.
So what
softer.
does that feel like? 'Cause
That's
obviously
quite rough.
That's like
Then
a Velcro.
again,
That
That reminds me of like a cow's tongue. That was something I used to be terrified of. How rough
cow's tongue.
how
I
often?
licked
Mate,
by a
what were
cow.
you doing there? Just sitting there, stroking a cow's tongue,
No,
going,
you
"This
know
feels
when you're a kid,
nice."
when
And
you go
the
to
cow's like,
farms
"Get
and
the
stuff
fuck
like
Oh,
off."
and you obviously.
Yeah,
a
cow.
cow or
Yeah, and then
something?
I used to have bad dreams. Like, you know when you're a kid you have like really weird bad dreams. I had a bad dream that a cow's tongue was like covered in verrucas and it was trying
Oh.
trying to lick me. A bit like what's that phobia people have with the holes?
Trypophobia.
Oh, yeah, like a
That's
cow's
what I
tongue like
have.
that,
I
yeah.
can't handle anything that looks like, the
Like
holes,
cheese.
or
Yeah.
like no, it's more like honeycomb type.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
no,
that,
yeah,
that
mate. It,
makes me feel really uncomfortable.
What I'm
Yeah.
going to do, I'll take a picture of all this and put it on
Yeah.
the YouTube. I have one of these at home for when Emily gets angry. So we'll give it to her. She'll go in time
Just
out.
ping her
And
with
she'll-
Yeah.
you say that, I have done, because not maliciously, but she'll
Oh,
hold
right.
one
Oh,
end
dear,
and
and
I'll
you'll
hold,
let go.
and
Oh,
then I'll
like-
let go of it.
that is,
But then she does it to me as well.
Yeah.
She learns.
There was chocolate though, so
But-
it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, she
Oh, that feels
if she
real
goes
nice,
doesn't it?
really angry, we put her in time out and she'll just sit there playing with one of these.
That was a person's hair I cut last week, mate.
Mine.
that's easy.
Yeah.
That's
No,
more
it looks like that
dreadlock.
one out of
Yeah.
Rugrats.
I had
Yeah,
a
Yeah, Chucky.
Oh my
dreadlock
God.
once.
But there's
What's that?
Oh, this is like a.
That feels wonderful.
yeah.
That sounded
They
really
might
wrong
think
from
that's
over here,
come from
mate.
fresh.
Oh, no, it's very.
No, it's
Fucking hell, mate.
it's like makeup sponges.
Feel
They're
that?
makeup
Hello.
sponges.
Well, now we know
There you
what
go.
fleshlights are made out of.
Mate, you're gonna go back home, babe. Can I borrow your fucking makeup sponge? Why? I've got a blemish
Don't ask me. I just need a Pringle pot, one of them.
and a rubber glove and an elastic band.
Welcome back to Proper Chat.
What's really cool about this is it will keep its shape
Yes,
when you.
yeah.
What's
That's
this?
awesome.
Is this for pineapple ice?
This is actually
Yeah, it
ice
is,
cubes.
yeah.
Yeah, you've
it's
absolutely
kinda
ruined it.
like-
I hope that comes back off and you haven't glued that down.
No, that's glued
No, it's
down.
fine.
Why have you
It's
done
glue ice
that?
for glue ice cubes, mate.
Yeah. No, again, it's just.
Why have you ruined one of the best ever ice cube trays I've ever
I
seen?
don't
It
know.
is
I
amazing.
had a
That is
Darth
fantastic.
Vader.
Oh, mate, I was gonna say I had Star Wars ones, mate, with little TIE fighters and all
No,
that in there.
they're
I
worse
had,
than pineapple ones,
Death
so
Star
don't kill it
one.
anyway.
That's it.
Fits nicely in a whiskey
Still
glass.
worse.
I
Still
want to have a
worse.
feel of that.
Dead minion.
So we've got. We've
Yeah,
got.
that's cool. That.
We've
Oh,
got.
that is sick.
We've
It's
got
like
a
a
cut up
rave in
fleshlight, and we've got a breast implant.
That's
And then we got
Where
this
do you
disco
guys get
lighting.
your products from?
And Summers.
You can purchase your sex toys from other places other than Amazon. There's many.
And
other-
your sensory items.
Yeah, mate. There's sensory
No,
items
these
for
are
adults.
these are really cool. So do your kids use this as well, or is it?
It's
something
funny
that
enough how
And
it's come
Summers
from.
toys, and then you've just asked.
Fucking
Oh,
yeah, your
yes.
kids
What a
use
transition.
only if they accidentally stumble into
I like,
bed.
I like the artificial grass
Do
as
you?
well.
See, that I find uncomfortable.
Oh, I love that.
Mm.
Yeah, see, I love
It's
all
not
that.
as nice as real grass, but you couldn't
No.
put real grass on there.
No, that
They'll be
wouldn't
dead
work.
in a couple of
Yeah.
minutes.
But it's kind of interesting how we all feel things slightly different. What we prefer, kind of what we
You know, like
don't
stress
like.
balls and stuff work for some people, don't they?
Yeah,
Fidget
exactly.
spinners.
it's not anything that's really that unusual, but obviously when we're talking about processing autism, it's kind of that next level of.
Is all of that considered a disability then? Is it officially registered as disability?
So obviously autism it's recognised. Sensory processing isn't in this country. They will treat it, but it's not in the diagnostic manual.
Oh really? But it is in other countries.
America recognise it.
Really?
There's lots of charities that recognise it. It's a thing, but unfortunately it's one of those things they haven't put on.
I'm not massively surprised that England's behind on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because we are very much a sheltered culture, so to speak. We like, if there's an issue with something, we'd rather go, it's not my problem, I'll sort it.
Yeah, and push it along.
It's the same. We are like known for not expressing our emotions. Well, British people don't talk about stuff; they bottle it up. We have got that.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
I think with the NHS, it's quite difficult to get treatment or diagnosis for it.
Is that purely because of?
Probably funding, and again, it's that.
It's good catch that. Damn it!
There's lots of private occupational therapies that will do it. It's not to say there isn't anything, but it's not easy. But
and then what is the benefit of being diagnosed?
Okay, so normally they'll put like what they call a sensory diet in place. So it's just tailored to that person. You can't have a
only food that feels good. No mushrooms.
Brussels, goodbye.
Yeah. So again, they look at. I mean, as I said, it's a professional thing. You know, someone who's fully qualified, but they look at what they struggle with, or what again, as if they're overstimulated, unstimulated, what they need to regulate that, and then they'll put a diet in place, which means certain activities will help with that. Quite often schools are really good, and if you give them that, they'll help integrate it into their day. But it's not something, again, that is still relatively
so it's recognised, but it's not understood completely.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
How many disorders come under the autism banner? Is there many, or are they very specific?
So they've kind of changed the diagnostic criteria now, which is a little bit confusing for some people, because I think they've changed it to ASC, which is autistic spectrum condition. However, previously you had Asperger's, which people described as like high functioning, I suppose. You have
Put it down.
You enjoyed that too much.
I am. I really am.
Robin.
It's actually really satisfying to just sit and
It
write
is,
and chat.
it really is.
Yeah. So it's not just for kids. It's like, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone should have a sensory
Exactly.
board.
Yeah.
That's actually so true. I might have to make one at home. Just not let my child play with it. That's Daddy's.
Well, this is the
Oh,
thing.
God.
Like,
Oh,
Don't put your hand there.
don't touch that. I've not cut it up yet. Or washed it.
okay. It's alright. I've totally lost my
It's
train of
really
thought.
strange how we've dialed ourselves back for this one, and Carl's just like, fuck it.
Yeah, I know. I like
Fuck off, it's his face, mate.
It's my face.
Blame Lewis.
It's just his face.
Blame Lewis.
You're not reading his mind. He's like,
So you were saying there's like Asperger's high functioning. Does it come with?
Yeah, I mean.
Tickle yourself with that, mate.
I'd say
That is the one.
it's lovely.
Sorry,
isn't
I've
it?
gone
No,
back to the
it's
sensory.
really, really satisfying.
It is. That is nice.
Yeah, what they kind of describe that as high functioning. Asperger's is more kind of.
I think that's what that mate he had that could do every Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
I think he had really bad Asperger's.
Again, I don't want to sort of generalise too much, but generally with Asperger's, you
They
don't.
always love Simpsons.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
It's always the Simpsons.
That's what Matt Groening
you don't have verbal like delay. There's not developmental milestones delay as much in Asperger's, whereas generalised autism we tend to get that.
So is the autism a bit of a blanket term for multiple different?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's other. I mean, one that's is PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance, which is a bit of a mouthful.
I thought that's
Not
public
public
display of
display.
affection.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Yeah, or one of them little
depends
things.
who you're
you had.
talking
Do you
to.
remember
few.
before mobile phones, people used to have a little PDA? It was
That's
just
it.
yeah. Loads of different PDAs.
PDAs. Yeah. That is basically.
So they also say in Australia when they're asking if you know Petey, do you know PDA?
Gosh.
Sorry.
Dad
So-
joke of the year.
Yeah.
That really
Definitely
was.
not dad
Not that
joke of
one.
the year. That wasn't even dad joke of the minute. We haven't even said another one. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right. That one's a little bit more complex, and again, it's not recognised. It's recognised by the National Autistic Society, but not by a lot of the local councils. So it's quite difficult to get support for children.
And then with any of those conditions that are recognised, and do you then get like disability living allowance and stuff like that? So
that's really difficult to answer. You can apply, and generally, if it impacts on your daily life, then yes, you should be able to. But again, it's one of those quite controversial things as to whether it's awarded or not. And again, with school, you would. Again, you can have a diagnosis, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to qualify for support. So again,
unless it's more severe.
Yeah, well, it's basically.
I guess it's just case by case,
It's
isn't it?
strange, isn't it? How
Totally.
if you can see someone's got a disability on the outside, you're more likely to get help than you are.
I think this is why sometimes with the autism that is less obvious, it's actually harder. Because you've got children who are trying to fit in with society. And
expected to fit in.
Well, that's it. And actually, with the social anxiety and the communication difficulties, it can cause quite severe depression, anxiety, and because they're so aware of their differences. Not to say that children that aren't as aware don't have a difficult time at all.
No.
But there's
quite a hard thing to talk about because everyone's different.
Yeah. Everyone is different, and
there's still a massive stigma around it. People take pride in. There are people out there that would be too proud to say if their child had obvious difficulties with stuff. They'll just sort of brush it under the rug and no, my boy's fine. Even when schools would approach people and say, look, we've definitely noticed that Johnny isn't performing correct, and they'll just he's fine when he's at home. It's not an issue. So I think things like that.
That's what's helped me relate as well, because like with my disability, isn't it? It's like you wouldn't know I've got MS unless I told you. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like, you've seen some of my bad days, like when I was at work and stuff like that. But every day, kind of like when I see you.
What is MS? Sorry,
multiple sclerosis.
It's
is it like I think Stacey's dad had it. It's like a shutdown of. Is it not nervous system? It's
neurological. So like your brain, spine, everything neurological just gets affected. So like things will stop working eventually and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? But you'll have moments of like where you have flare ups and things like that where they won't work for a brief period, or I can go into like a siege.
What sort of?
Like my hands, for example. Like I think I was with you at work when
God,
all of a sudden I was like,
my hair
no, it's brilliant. But normally you can tell like well in advance like you're going to have one of those days. You know what I mean? Massively. And I mean I was once doing like, I think Ashley's paperwork, like signing it off. I was there with my pen and all of a sudden I was like, I actually couldn't let go of it. My hand had kind of just like locked in that position, if you know what I mean. And I was kind of like, but this was all new because obviously
you got loads of paperwork done though, didn't you?
Oh, amazing, mate. Yeah, it was just like,
well, just while I'm here.
Ashley was actually moving my arm for me, going, "Yeah, say there's more commission." It's like,
the second time.
Just put it into like a printer and just whack it there. Lovely.
I don't know how this is going to come out for listeners, but does intelligence play a factor in this? Because obviously a lot of I don't know, like autistic people can be highly intelligent, which is why they can't function as well as what we would.
I think it's just that's just the same, really, isn't it? Would have been. You've got highly intelligent people that aren't. I think that's more of a just that person is just intelligent, isn't it? Or
I think it's not a learning disability. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
Like dyslexia would be.
No, that's it.
Exactly.
And quite often there is no learning disability. There is for some children, and again it varies. But again, then you're looking at, okay, if they're able or very able in school, but they're struggling with social anxiety and they still have barriers to learning. So that's what they look at it, rather than just going, right, well actually he's 2 years below in English, so we need to get him up to speed. And actually it might not be about that, which is more positive now that it's moving towards that, rather than just looking at levels.
And then if you've got like a subject that you really, really like, then you're going to come across as the most intelligent person in the world for that subject, because you know it inside out, upside down.
Well, Google actually did a marketing campaign about recruiting people with autism, because the hyper focus that they can have,
They
and
can
the
become
dedication
incredible
to-
developers.
That's
or
exactly it,
problem
which
solvers.
was really positive for the
Yeah.
autistic community.
the complete opposite to what Bill Gates did,
Yeah.
which is hire lazy people because they get from A to B much quicker than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because they'll cut corners. Yeah, he actually
Yeah.
did do that.
Yeah.
No.
He said,
Right.
yeah, if I've got a room of 10 candidates and 9 of them are really professional, well focused, and they've all got a problem to solve, the person that will get to the end first is often the lazy person because he can't be bothered to do all that shit.
Yeah.
And then he'll say, yeah, there we go, you found an easier way to get from, and then that becomes the process
Yeah.
until someone lazier and lazier.
Yeah.
People just sat there.
Like Wally.
It's just a ball.
It's a bowl of nothing. Can just do magic.
Porridge.
He can just literally do magic. There we go. We'll have him. Well, yeah, that's obviously in
No,
reverse.
but we're all going to be like them people. I always think of like, is it Wally?
Yeah.
All the people in a chair.
Yeah,
I know
in
it sounds
a little
stupid, but that is
spaceship.
going to be
Yeah,
us
that's
at one
gonna be
point
us.
where we
Legs don't
can't be that
work
arsed to do
anymore.
anything. It don't matter how
Skeletons
big you
just
are.
Shrunk.
I
Here's the ball.
watched that for the first time.
Yeah, I think we
2
spoke
weeks-
about
2
it and I
weeks
told
ago.
you
It's
to watch
amazing
it.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, I loved
It's
it.
like,
It's really
you
good.
don't realise. I
think
left
that's
it
one of the
quite
best-
late to
yeah.
want to.
Yeah, I only watched it a couple of months ago.
And I was just in awe with that film.
In
Yeah,
fact, I only
lovely
watched
film.
it because I was, them random threads that you get on Facebook of like things that you didn't notice
Yeah.
in these films. Yeah, that came up as one of the things. It was about how the start of it is only about global warming and how
Yes.
like the chimneys in it were still smoking and stuff, and that was the reason. It was like a hidden. This is what we're
That's
doing
it.
to ourselves. So I'm going to watch that, and then yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lovely. It's a lovely film.
Yeah, we've gone off point here, haven't we?
Yeah.
Quite a lot. We've
Says
somehow
Ashley's going like this.
Yeah, I'm playing with this.
talked about
I
chocolate.
know,
told-
but again, like some people would be able to just by doing something simple like that, maybe able
Yeah,
to
help
Get on with their
communicate-
day-to-day
yeah,
business as
communicate
well.
better, just
So
feel
so the
more-
right stimulation for them, also kind of a distraction, would then make them perform better at the task that they're not so good at.
Yeah, and if they're doing like following the sensory diet to their needs, then that should improve their functionality over time. So it's all positive, but it's just with our business, it's really again, like I said, making sure
Carl,
that we
just
can
twist
get.
that because it's pointing at you more. The whole mic itself, just twist that. No, the mic.
Yeah, no, that would do anyway.
Yeah, that'd
you
be
could,
alright, yeah.
yeah, if you no, just move it that way again. There we go, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of about, as I said, making people feel comfortable. Assessing their needs and just making sure that we're able to get them in, give them a haircut. Again, it's a life skill to be able to go and get your haircut. It sounds really simple,
Yeah.
but for a lot of people it's really difficult. So if we can start that as early as possible, hopefully we'll help them function.
So with that, when do you think that you guys are going to be open? So you're already taking.
Well, yeah, we literally got the shop accepted today.
Awesome.
So we've put an offer in, didn't
Yeah.
we? And obviously spoken to our business partner, which we spoke about before, Jake, who's got it all as well. So yeah, we've both given the go ahead now, haven't we? So as of tomorrow, I think paperwork will start.
Yeah.
So we're hoping by the end of September we'll be fully up and
Yeah,
running,
hopefully.
like
Cool. So
latest
that's-
in our
So
head.
that's
do you know what I
Central
mean?
Bedford for anyone that is listening that is interested, that's local. That will be
Yeah,
the
we'll
shop
keep you updated as well
Yeah,
with
yeah,
what's
that's
going
right.
on.
You
do know what I
guys
mean?
are
But-
obviously sponsoring us, so you're welcome on whenever you want. We're also going to
been
come
like
and do an episode.
bi-weekly
Yeah,
thing now,
that'd
isn't
be
it? It's
brilliant.
been good, but yeah, it'd be good to have you at the shop
Yes,
and all that.
definitely.
And then-
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool doing one at
Yeah.
the shop
Yeah.
as well.
And then
Yeah.
right now, if someone listens to this Friday and they go, "Oh, I've got a child that really suffers with that, hasn't had the haircut in ages,"
Yeah.
how far would you guys travel? So we get someone that rings up from Yorkshire, their kid's 15 and has never had a haircut.
Might cost a bit.
Yeah.
So
So
it's just mileage.
yeah,
Maybe
Yeah.
they'll pay for mileage.
I think
Yeah.
we've also got to think of there are other people, we're not naive, that are doing it out there. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And stuff like that.
You
Now
know,
we
like
will-
Bedford, Cambridge, that sort of
yeah,
areas
so
would be
good
your-
surrounding areas where
Milton
we're
Keynes,
familiar,
Northampton, possibly just
Yeah.
kind of.
branching out towards Stevenage Way and stuff like that,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
and I guess
Yeah.
if someone's got a whole family, for example, that are all a
That's-
bit
yeah,
wary,
see,
then
that's
you probably
different,
will.
yeah.
It's
Exactly.
much more cost
So
effective,
you
yeah.
guys can get in touch with the Beardy Barber Company
Yeah.
over Instagram. The handle is
Beardy Barber Co.
lovely. Have you got
And
Facebook
we've got
page?
Facebook under the Beardy Barber Company again.
Fantastic.
And,
I'll
yeah, so
put it
we're
on
doing
our
all
link
right.
tree as well. So if
That'd
you
be
send me the
brilliant.
links, I'll put them all up. So
Yeah.
anyone that's listening,
So we're on Booksy and all that as well. So that obviously that's been quite
and
a good
they can
tool.
do that from
Yeah.
today.
Yes,
if
that's all live anyway. We've been doing that.
Yeah, if it's sustainable line of work, people can.
And like I say, look at
Yeah.
the reviews as well, because again, they've come from parents that have had children with autism.
really.
And it's been-
Parents better have had children. It's come from parents that have had children.
I think.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
Yeah,
then.
so,
Yeah.
it's gone well.
Yeah, fantastic.
You've got more sheets. What else have we got? What other good ones?
Really, what we spoke about, to be honest, it was about finding the right balance.
We'll hand these over to you though. So
Yeah, I
you
can
can
give you
take them
those
with
to
you.
take. It's really
Or
just.
email them to me.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you've got them on,
that's
yeah, we
fine.
can attach that.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah,
that
it's
stuff.
mostly what we've talked about generally, really. I don't
Yeah,
want to do
fantastic.
too many kind of visuals, but yeah, it's just really chatting to you, giving you a bit of knowledge and
Information, yeah,
understanding.
because I know
Yeah.
sod all about this sort
Like
of
I say,
stuff.
I didn't, mate, up until a year and a half ago, did I? And it's been a massive eye opener. Do you know what I mean? Especially in a good way in a lot of ways. Because initially you think, oh god, it can be like really overwhelming to think how do you deal with things. But to be honest with you, it's not in a horrible way. It's not that hard if you do it right, is it? It can be hard.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but I think again it's all about going back to staying calm
Yes.
and
It's
making
good
sure.
customer service.
Oh, it's huge.
Well, it's not good. It's exceptional customer service
Yeah.
because that person needs that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
Exactly.
is-
Well,
that is it.
one thing I think we should speak about. So people that might listen that think perhaps their child might be on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
What do you think of some like
Practice or something?
early like from your experience? How did you diagnose and why did you go and get your own children checked? And what was it for you? Because there might be people listening that go, do you know what?
My
Mate.
child's got a couple of those little.
Yeah.
And I think it's quite overwhelming, and it's quite for parents. It can be quite difficult to accept sometimes that maybe you do need a little bit of support or a little bit of guidance as to what's going
But
on.
did it say it's someone that is just completely
Naive
has
to it
only,
all.
has
Yeah.
only
No,
just
no,
had? What do you think are
Yeah.
some like early warning signs? What was it that for you that made you think?
I mean, yeah, for me,
different
it
for
was.
everyone,
It
but-
is.
Yeah.
It is very different. I
Yeah.
think for me, talking about my son particularly, it was behaviour. It was kind of the whole needing to be in a set routine more so than the average child.
Right.
There was just a lot of things.
What age did this all start?
I would say probably from about 18 months.
Oh, really? You noticed that it needed
early.
structure.
Yeah, so it was kind of, you kind of get ideas of things, but as time went on, and my daughter was born and he turns 3, it was kind of like, okay, things are changing. And I was quite lucky because the health visitor came and I spoke to her about my concerns, and she then referred us. It still took another 4 years to get a diagnosis.
Wow.
So
Really?
it's not easy.
Is that
it's
through
really
the
not
research that needs to be done, or purely the funding
And the
bits
backlog of-
backlog
yeah.
of people that are there?
I think there is so many. I think as well, when they're under 5, normally they say a wait and see approach, because obviously it's quite young to kind
Yeah,
of
it could
diagnose,
just
which is
be
understandable.
the
yeah,
fact that they're young
developmental,
and they're just
yeah.
sort of pushing the bar a little
Um,
bit, and
I think it's more about how it's affecting their daily life, your daily life, and looking at that rather than going as specific symptoms or anything. If you feel like things are becoming too difficult, or
Ask for help.
yeah, exactly. And I found personally the support groups, parent support, really helpful, because you can talk, you can have a laugh and a joke about, sometimes because if you can't laugh then you'll
Exactly,
be crying.
Oh, gosh,
Yeah.
So and so it's actually, that's really positive. It is hard. You do have to fight for the help. It's not.
So
it's
yeah,
not
I was
always
just
easy.
googled it then as well to sort of see, and there's obviously a lot of support available online
huge amount
for
now.
if you are worried, and there's like symptom checkers, so to speak. That
Yeah, you can do sort of questionnaires, things like that. They always say first stop is GP, but again, it depends on your GP, how they view autism. Sometimes with professionals, you have to fit into an exact box, and we know that none of us actually fit into an exact box.
Mhm.
So
Well, I don't know. I've had a few big boxes in my time, but I've managed to get in.
Must be
I've had a
huge.
washing machine from Argos once, and just fit in there, snug, lovely.
Oh,
Just shut myself
nothing
in that
better than a
box.
cardboard box to hide in.
I know. Hide. I lived there.
Cut a flap for
Yeah.
Still do.
Yeah, I
No,
still live
no
in
girls
that.
allowed. They're on the outside.
Yeah, I hate that music.
So what?
Oh.
Obviously, it's a lot more known about now compared to years and
God,
years and
yeah.
years ago. Do you think it's something that's always gone on, or do you think there's something that's sort of triggering it in children or adults? Is it?
Do you believe the conspiracy theories? I think is yeah.
No, I'm just asking
Yeah,
whether
that-
it's something. Whether
Has
it's,
diets changed a mentality? Has evolution evolved differently in people?
Yeah.
I think it's a
Is
bit
it-
of both.
is it
Probably.
increase in technologies?
Yeah. Well, I think with foods as well, how they are
Processed.
manufactured different
Yes.
to what
Yeah.
they were even my
So much
generation of
sugar,
life.
Preservatives and
Salt,
stuff put on them,
I
covered in
do
stuff.
genuinely believe it's part evolution and part. Well, it is evolution on everything, isn't it? Like they've all kind of evolved, not always for the better.
Because
do you know
I
what
guess
mean?
if
In that
everyone had like a certain level of autism, then that would be the norm.
Yes.
If it's all high functioning, then surely society would just grow. So
Yeah.
if everything was,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It would just
Oh, yeah.
actually elevate. So it could
Yeah.
be evolution. That could be the way that more and more people are going, just
Oh,
because of
They
mental
do
evolution.
say, I mean, there are quite a few professionals, quite a few people that say everybody is on the spectrum somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right, but there are
No, but you
views
could be like the
of
most
that.
minor degree compared
But
to.
I think there's different parts of the spectrum can affect all of us. So in that respect, I suppose that could be true.
Because I guess quite often as well, it's very the antisocial side of a lot of these things is quite prevalent, and it's not often that you'll get someone that's really
Anxiety and
sociable
depression
Yeah.
at the
that
moment
has
is-
autism or
Huge.
Asperger's.
It's absolutely
So,
huge.
and as a society, we're becoming less and less social with people. So it could just be the back end
Yeah.
of the fact that the socialising isn't the same anymore.
Well,
Anywhere
against
like it
what
used to.
social media done with that. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
you think when we were kids, all of us.
Could just
Did
be
our
the
phones
natural
out, I mean,
development.
we'd
It's
walk
quite
out
a
and we'd
scary
travel a
fact.
mile to go and see
Yeah.
someone, wouldn't we?
Our
And
kids
Oh, yeah.
could
If they weren't in,
quite severe.
Mile back
even
home, do you know what I mean?
If you're bored, like with the amount of times we just got up and
Get on
like,
a bike,
walk,
get anything.
Yeah,
Do
you'd
you know what I
literally, if
mean?
you wouldn't know where your mates were, you'd walk for 2 hours trying to find where your mates are,
Yeah.
and it would be the house with all the pushback bikes outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, that's where they were.
And if you got that bored, you just knocked on people's houses and ran. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And stuff
literally
like
that.
that. But it was good fun.
I do think there is
Do
a
that now, you
massive,
get arrested.
Or shot.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
in America.
Or
I do-
both, in America.
There's a massive sensory overload for everyone. I think, especially now, everywhere you look, there's advertising, there's technology. You got
Exactly.
phone in your pocket, you got Apple Watch. It's just you're
Yeah.
constantly.
Yeah.
Your mind don't
Think
shut
it-
up.
no.
Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
constantly stimulated. And
The
even at night,
second before
sometimes
you
for
go
people
to
that ain't.
sleep, you're on your phone.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're
Yeah.
watching telly, or you're
Yeah.
listening to it, but it's constant. There's never any time where you just sat there, quiet,
Yeah.
and I think that could be a
Well, I said to you
factor
the
as well.
Yeah.
the
fact
other day, wasn't it? For the first time in my car in a long time, I just drove and there was nothing on. And I was like, do you know what? It was actually really nice.
yeah.
I know it sounds really stupid, but for like that 1 hour
Peaceful.
journey, I was just like, the drive felt like it went really quick.
Mm.
And I just got lost in my own thoughts, you know what I mean? But I was actually like saying to you,
You could have
wasn't
been
it? I was
listening
like,
to
it's
proper chat. I mean,
Yeah.
cheers.
But I've already listened to them all, mate. So
Another
you
one.
know.
Pick your favourite. Give us an extra string. Yeah, cheers, mate.
It's the one with
Remember
me
that.
in it. I love it. It's amazing.
the sort of the adults that are giving birth to children now, that where there is a lot more of a not stigma, that's the wrong word.
No, it is a stigma. There is a.
Not, no, that's not what I'm thinking about.
Oh,
I'm thinking
right.
about it's like that have autism. There's a lot more people now that have autism or on the spectrum.
Yeah.
Their parents would have been listening to a lot more telephones, TV, radios.
Yeah.
Might be something where it's just
Yeah, it could be. I
Evolved in business.
honestly think there's something to do with the social aspect. I really do. I think that the further we go, that we'll see more and more of it,
Yeah.
especially the antisocial side of it, and people being nervous in groups.
Yeah, I think with the social anxiety, although
Especially this last 5 months.
sometimes, yeah,
I was about to
sometimes
say,
with people with autism actually don't understand social boundaries, so you can get the opposite effect where they
quite
may
in your
not
face, can't
appreciate
they give you a
personal
cuddle or they're
space,
right in your
Yeah,
or
face.
that's it.
understand what's sort of appropriate socially.
Yeah,
you
that
know,
is
they
true.
Talk.
Mega
And
confident.
actually, yeah, that's it. But it's an unawareness of it's
Yeah, with
you
like
know,
a void in. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It's
yeah.
like
That's it. There's
ridiculous
no filter
confidence
or
without
barrier, is it?
Yeah,
without
so
boundaries. No boundaries.
Yeah,
No.
that's it. It's the social boundaries that they struggle with. But I guess, you know, if you look at it like that, we're all affected in some way.
You kind of nailed it there, didn't you? For the last 5 months, we've been in a bubble, and a lot of people. Some people are buzzing to go out and be social again, but some people are really struggling now, where they're like, God, I don't feel like I can take that extra
I don't want to go
out.
back to work. I can't face it. Or I don't want to go.
Just even
to
going like you say, going to a pub and all that, people would be buzzing for.
sweaty.
But now they're kind of like, I don't want to be around all that noise.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I've got my little hub.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really struggling with the masks at the minute.
Yeah,
like,
so
I
do
don't.
I.
But I go out and literally after about 15 minutes, mate, it's
Your anxiety.
your anxiety's through the roof. You like breathing in your own breath.
You've got to
again,
feel sorry
all
for
of a sudden you
surgeons that have had to do that their whole life for 12 hours.
Do you know what?
Does make you realise.
I'm not going to take
Yeah,
the piss
it
when I
does.
messed up my back now with an operation. It was like, do you know what? You've probably eaten some
Had a
Dodge
mask
and your
on.
breath is humming. Do you know what I mean? He's there going, I don't want to cut this back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, Jesus. Yeah, I just
But
don't know how to do it.
It's
Yeah.
slightly different with the masks as well. When it comes, people have always said that, like, oh yeah, well, doctors and nurses and stuff wear them all the time. Well, that's what
They're
they do.
climatised, yeah.
They know that they can put a mask on for 4 hours at a time.
I want to
and
know how a surgeon
get
does
comfortable.
it.
Yeah.
How does a surgeon do it without missing up his glasses? Fucking like wizard or what?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's-
It's like
I think it's because
really
it's so
terrible.
tight though. That's why. So
yeah, but the thing is, I've got it on like going to the supermarket. I mean, aisle 1. Next time it's demissing, I'm in the freezer section down the other end going, what the fuck just happened? Do you know what I mean? But my basket's full.
You wanna get,
I think what's happened there is you've stolen someone's shopping. You've gone to look at something and just turned
Just
around.
picked up an old lady on my shoulder. I'm like,
It's the wrong trolley.
Cole, that's not ice. She's dead.
Oh, it was cold enough.
The same texture.
Cold, hard. I thought it was ice.
You fit in my eye with my drink. It's fine.
And I've got a spare couple of toes. This one's getting a bit warm.
It's pickled.
with your glasses, my
Yeah.
dad used to buy this stuff for his motorbike lens.
Yeah,
to
the
stop
anti.
it from
Yeah.
misting up. Get some
Yeah.
of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't they spray windows in houses with that shit?
I don't know.
Condensation.
It's exactly the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just spray that stuff and then you never get it.
No, but
There
only
we go,
that's
there's
for
business
certain
in there,
time as
boy.
well.
Yeah, they're already selling it.
Talking about the masks though, because people are, obviously some people are really struggling for whatever reason.
They're all right on Halloween though, aren't they? It's funny that. On a Tuesday when they have to wear it, they'll have a vampire on for 12 hours on a night
You
out.
don't go around the shops with your Halloween mask on, do
You
you?
do
He
if you
does.
want to rob stuff. The one night you can take what you
He's
want.
there in
and
his
then-
scream mask just going,
We're looking for a devil. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, there's about 16,000 of them.
Yeah, if you look on the government site, there is no formal exemption, but the description is if you find it too distressful to wear a
you
mask,
don't have to wear one.
you don't have
So
to
we've
wear
got little
one.
badges now.
Yeah, you can get them 75p or something.
Yeah.
So again,
What, for-
children with autism,
So you don't have to wear-
adults with autism,
The thing is, though,
anxiety.
The thing
We
is,
don't
guys, if
need
everyone
nasty
does that,
badges.
if everyone does that, then all of a sudden no one's wearing a mask and the infection just spreads.
Or does
I
it?
know as much as I don't want
Or
to.
does it?
Look,
Sorry.
We'll leave that for
Yeah,
another
Obviously,
episode.
obviously, it's for people that do generally struggle. I'm not recommending that everyone goes
No,
out
no,
and
but
gets
everyone will because the
Yeah.
people are just like, oh, I can spend 75p and not have to wear one because I'm not scared, and then they're a
Yeah.
carrier of it.
No,
And then
I
some
get-
look. At the end of the day, we've just got to go by the guidelines that we're told. It makes no difference to me really if I have to whack a mask on for an hour to. Go
But
and
to
do a
some
bit of
people it does.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, some people it does. The people
Yeah.
that we're talking about, not the
Yeah.
people that like you
Oh
can wear a
no,
mask.
not just because they really just
No.
generally just can't be bothered or don't like it.
Which
it's,
you get.
It's a general distress. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's a proper.
If someone comes into my work and they say I don't have to wear one because it worries me or whatever, and then I guess I'll judge, and then they'll be doing something. You'll be like, if you were too anxious to put a mask on for an hour, but you'll let your kid run up and down a slide with, you know what I mean? It's like, no, you just.
But it
change
might
shit.
be something like claustrophobia. My mum
Yeah.
gets very claustrophobic having
That's
it
how
on,
I feel, mate.
which
yeah,
is
it's-
why
It gives me
she.
migraines actually to wear the mask.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Like I don't.
It's carbon
mind doing
dioxide
it
that
as
you
in,
just-
I've
It's
got a
not.
mask
That's
on.
been disproved.
Has it?
You can completely breathe through it. It doesn't change your oxygen levels at all.
Oh.
We are not talking about fake science.
The only
facts.
thing I don't recommend is having a cigarette, then putting your mask on.
No, because
Mate,
that will.
like,
be. Yeah,
oh,
'cause you're- yeah.
It's brutal. Like, you put
probably
that on,
stink.
go into a shot, and you're like,
Oh, no, it's
you're
horrible.
spinning for like 20 minutes. It's
But
like,
anyone that says that they can't wear a mask, if they wear a scarf, if I see them wearing a scarf in winter, I'm ripping that off. If you're too claustrophobic to have something over your mouth, then it's the same in your neck. So your mum is going to have a cold ass neck in a few months' time.
you're just going to be stalking her, aren't you? Just
I'm
like,
just going to be walking around everyone. Going, I know you didn't wear a mask. Give me your
And then on
scarf
Facebook Marketplace, scarf for sale, £5.
and the mask.
Free mask with every scarf.
Yeah, no, I just don't agree with the people that are doing it out for the sake of doing it.
No.
When you don't have to wear it all day. I have to wear one for 10 hours a day at work. 10
See, I
hours.
didn't think you had to wear them if you're actually working in the place.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
10 hours, and the only thing that is really, obviously it's not nice, it's uncomfortable, and it
Get well
fucking
sweaty.
hurts your ears. That's the worst
Yeah.
thing, where it's pulling on your ears all day.
It makes a mess when you try and eat as well, doesn't it?
No, you can take them off when you
I'm
eat.
joking.
But yes, so
Damn it!
what the hell? Yeah, you have to take them off to do that as well.
Yeah, I've got to say, what are you doing?
It's a good job these aren't recorded.
That was a ball.
Yeah, of course it
Yeah,
was.
that's what we call here.
Is that what
Sin
you're
your fork.
I'm just using a fork. What are you doing up there? I'm just eating. I've got my mask on. Yeah. But that, for me, the most discomfort is around the ears. It canes, and it feels like you still got it on when you take it off.
Did you see that
It
young
really
lad?
aches.
I'm going to say I've noticed your ears a lot more pulled forward now.
They've
Yeah,
always
they
been pretty
stick out,
bad, mate. Have you got a stapler?
There was that young lad that 3D printed these clips that you hold behind your head and you clip your mask
What,
onto.
hairband?
No, like a.
Yeah, I
it's
know
got
you're
like
like the
notches.
magnet clips.
Yeah.
And he started selling them, and he's earned a fortune out of them.
Yeah.
What? Explain it to me.
They're like, so they don't go over your ears, they go around
It's
the back of
like
your head.
hook. It's
So
like
he's made
that.
goggles. He's put a mask on.
Pretty
a pair of
much,
goggles. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
pretty
cool.
much.
Yeah, awesome.
But why not?
Goggles
You
for your
can't
mouth.
mind
Goggles for your mouth. Anybody?
Have you seen that
Sweet
video?
foot out. Get them today while stocks last.
That video of that chap that's got two masks that looks
Oh
like
mate,
a
how
duck
good
bill.
is that? And,
And then when he goes to eat, he just opens it and the mask goes.
Yeah,
She actually did it.
The funniest thing I've seen at work. So you know
That'll
the
be better
face,
for a fork.
you know the face covering. Would you wear a face covering thing then? You know the
Yes.
little visor helmets.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, have you got one?
No.
I
would wear one.
if I had one.
They're
Yeah.
more expensive, though,
I'm
aren't
just
they?
not going to buy one.
Yeah.
But if someone
No, I
gave
would.
me
I'm
one,
going to have to with my job. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
no,
So-
exactly. Yeah. So some guy is going with his missus, and he wears glasses, right? And he's got one of these face visor things, but he's cut out the glasses hole. So what he's done, he's cut out this rectangle because he couldn't see apparently with his glasses.
Glasses
Anyway,
on
anyway, his missus goes, "You can't see because you've still got the film on it." That's why he's just not peeled the film
Oh,
off this
brilliant.
one. And now out of spite, so his missus gets him a new one, but out of spite he still wears this one. He comes in regularly, just with the glasses hole cut out.
So basically, he's got holes in it anyway.
Yeah,
so
it's
the breath is
now it's just
yeah.
irrelevant. It's just no point having it. It's just
He
it's really
needs to
badly cut.
paint that red, doesn't he? Sit in a bush somewhere and be a raw mailbox and just steal letters. He'll be like, thank you.
Just eat them as they go in.
Feels like a
Spitting out
birthday card.
stamps.
Tenner.
Just be eating change, breaking your teeth.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
this
from a
cheap
nan.
bastard put coins in it.
I'm going to chuck it back out. Second class, that's first class, you wanker.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. That went off on a tangent again.
That did.
Yeah, right.
Snackage.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk
Yeah, it was
about
We
that.
very
didn't talk
emotional, yeah.
about snacks.
So I actually had some advice from a close friend of mine that only listens to podcasts all day, and he said we need to lose the crisps because they're a lot
They
of
make a
people
lot of
have. Going back to sensory, actually, that's one of the things that people
Yeah.
can really
Yeah.
wind people up
Yeah.
is listening to the people crunching on crisps.
Yeah.
Same in why they can't sell them in cinemas and that
Yeah.
because it just
Yeah.
pisses people off.
Yeah.
So
But
With these mics are quite sensitive. They're probably picking up your dog when he was snoring.
they're picking up, just pick him up.
pick him up,
Turn
that's
around.
sensitive.
No.
Get out, boy.
You can
Picking
hear,
up your dog.
you can hear everything through them.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So eating crisps is a bit tricky, but when we get the new equipment, I can mute it like from my box. So if someone just goes to bite it, I can just go boop, and then they can eat it, and then I can unmute it again.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible.
Or we just don't get crisps.
Yeah, but I like crisps
Yeah.
and chocolate.
Yeah, you love chocolate. Will there be chocolate?
Watching my family.
Chocolate and crisps. Dairy milk chocolate with salt and
They
vinegar
did those
crisps.
crisp,
yeah,
chocolate
do you
flavoured
remember them?
crisps one time, didn't they?
No,
Absolute travesty.
Oh.
Yeah.
Salt and vinegar crisps with dairy milk chocolate is the
Oh,
one
Yeah.
because you get that sweetness and the saltiness.
No, not at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
same
God, I'm
time.
going to have to get a
Chocolate
taxi
crisp,
home.
chocolate.
Yeah.
I cannot spend time in the car with someone.
Oh,
that
yeah.
I've got Turkish Delight and chocolate and crisps.
Her name's Emily, mate.
Yeah.
Is this Turkish delight?
Not on the website I saw it on.
Wow.
You racist.
Racist.
What? So he's gone on a sex adult site?
Whoa,
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
say
racist.
that. I did not say. I was on a hairdressing site.
Yeah, of course she's not on one.
But she is on a sex adult site.
Not anymore.
I'll put an end to that. Don't you worry. It cost me a few £100, but we got that.
Fine.
Talking about those sorts of sites, have you seen that?
No,
Bella?
we're not talking about it.
Let's just stop. Go back to food.
This is in the news. That Bella Delphine, the girl
Oh,
that used
yeah.
to work for Disney.
Made £1 million in a day.
Seriously?
On her OnlyFans.
She's made 2 million now.
2 days, £2 million selling photos of her front bum. That is mental money.
Yeah.
Mental.
That isn't that right up? Yeah, isn't that right?
Beardy what? Yeah, no, but that's ridiculous.
£2 million.
They predicted
selling-
she'd do it in a month. They thought she was going to be the most successful in a month. She'll make $1 million, is what they said. And then 24 hours later, they're like,
Why did they predict that? What
Because
She's a
Disney.
celebrity.
She was a Disney actress, and there's a lot of weirdos out there.
To be fair,
paid to
if
see
Jennifer
the news.
Lawrence turned around and made an OnlyFans account, that's the only OnlyFans
You don't
account
need
I'm ever
them.
going to
You've
buy.
got- She's leaked all her stuff. You've showed me it.
True.
On your phone.
You've
Just
got
now.
her. You've actually got her OnlyFans, and you've not paid for it.
Bargain. Win-win.
All you need to do to make it feel
Anyway,
fresh is change
Anyway,
it.
food.
Change the filter.
Food.
Going back to
That was a
snacks.
good joke, but I'll
you
let you-
didn't have any snacks today, but
No, I
you
didn't
did
have
a
any
beverage.
snacks today. Yeah, I just went for a Copperberg and I got
A
massively
baby
mugged
Copperberg.
off. Yeah, I got really mugged off. There was 3 stubby ones for like 3 for a £5, or there was a pack of 4 for a £5. So I thought, I'm going to get a pack of 4 for a £5. I'm not dumb. So I picked it up, brought it here, and I am dumb.
But now you know what it feels like to be a giant.
Yeah. And my hands have grown, is what I worked out. So
How many millilitres is in that?
330, it's the same as a can of
Oh,
Coke.
this is 360. So this tiny little naked green machine bottle's actually got more beverage.
That
in
is
it
bad,
than
isn't it?
your-
Oh, that's terrible.
That is. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go and cry.
But how is your Copperberg?
It's fucking lovely. It's one of the nicest drinks on the market, to be honest. So you can't really go wrong with it. It's so nice, refreshing,
Good.
lovely. What did you go for,
I
Ash?
went for a naked green machine. It's apple, kiwi, and pineapple, and it was fucking delicious.
You went for
This
a naked
thing-
green machine. So basically, the Hulk's lost his trousers. He's like, I'm going for it.
Oh,
It tasted delightful. It was a bit
This-
thick.
this was.
Had a nice mouthful of it.
It was a bit gloopy and had some.
It's got two apples, some banana, kiwi, peach, mango, and pineapple, and honestly, that was.
Yeah, they are good, to be
delicious.
fair.
Oh, good.
And I went for the healthy option of some gently baked mango pieces.
That looked like the devil's toenails.
They do.
Very
They
similar to
are
your pork scratchings.
so delicious. It's unbelievable. It's urban fruit, baked mango, dried mango. Fucking lovely.
Who even
I'm all
thought that?
mangoed out.
Someone accidentally ate that because
No,
there was
they-
no other food, and they were like, "Oh, look at the state of that
No, they-
mango! It's so dried, but I'm gonna have a bite." And then they were like, "This is
It's,
fucking
It's
delicious."
alright, actually, I'm going to bag this and sell it to
Chop
other
this
people
up.
that are packing
Get me a
planet.
hammer, mate. And then they made that one bag, and you've bought it.
No, my dad works with a load of Filipinos, and the reason I like dried mango. I know, I started laughing because I had to. They do it. He buys big bags of dried mango from them, and it is so sweet. It's
Your
amazing.
dad buys big bags of dried mangoes from Filipinos that he works with.
Yes,
That sounds like the perfect cover-up for a cocaine story.
maybe.
Where you going? I'm just out to the Filipinos for a big bag of dried mangoes.
Yeah.
Have you got them like
Honestly,
just
you
in your
need
cupboards
to-
at home?
You need to try.
Eat them
I
like
would be a
cereal.
lot better off than I am now if I did.
Well, it
Wait,
seems
do you
like
have-
you are, mate, with a new fucking shed, a new driveway.
No.
Yeah, we just knock out a few dried mangoes, mate. So,
All in a line.
yeah, £40 a bag, lovely.
But it is, honestly, try it. It's
Yeah, I bet it's
amazing,
super
and
sweet,
it's the-
isn't it? Yeah.
and it's I never liked like the dried bananas, crisps,
Yeah, I
and
don't
shit
mind
like
them,
that.
to be fair.
If you like those, you'll love these. But
Yeah.
these are they're amazing, honestly.
Okay.
What snackage did you go for? You went with the old
Yeah, so
crunch.
I've gone back for a Coors Light again because
As per.
can't
You
fail.
can't beat
No.
Coors Light.
And I've actually been to Costco again,
Costco.
and they've done peanut butter pretzel bites.
Can I try one
Yeah,
of
you
them?
both need to try
Yeah.
one because they are
Not
actually
too
really
close
nice.
To the micro.
I do like that there's that little bit of shake. It's like a Kinder Egg.
Yeah, but once you have one, you
Mm.
kind of can't stop. It's annoying.
Mm.
Oh, fucking hell.
They're alright, aren't they?
How much were they for a bag?
It was like £6 for the whole pot, and the pot's like the size of half my body, mate. So
I'd
Mate,
say
they
watch
are
a film and
fantastic.
they'd be
demolish
gone.
half of
Yeah,
that.
it'd scare me, and then I'd be scared of the
they're
morning
nice.
after.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Mm.
They've got to be about 20 calories a bite, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
Not a
Probably
protein.
more.
Yeah.
Unlike this, where this whole bag of dried mango is 107 calories.
Available at all decent
So
retailers.
this was from Tesco's.
Hey, what is a sugar count in that bad boy?
I'll tell you. So,
1,
He's like,
2, 3.
57 grams of sugar, natural sugars,
per.
not.
Per 100
I
grams.
don't know because I
Don't
ripped
say
it-
that.
He's ripped the
57.
important bit.
I ripped the
If that's
important bit.
57
Per
grams
one.
per 100 grams, then it's 50.
Oh no, so that's per
30 grams.
1,000 grams.
Oh, that's not too bad.
So for this pack was, when I line it up properly, with
Such
my juggling
riveting
hands,
conversations we have on Proper Chat. Letting
there's
Ashley read
actually
the packet.
one gram of sugar.
It's
in
not
it.
bad
that's really
actually, I'll
good.
give him the juice.
Yeah.
You've done alright there.
You've given
Not
the
bad
juice.
at all. And there's no salt.
I haven't got
And
any
there's
more
1
orange
gram
juice
of
left, mate.
protein, 3.2 grams of fibre. So if you've got the shits, eat some dried mango.
Oh, so I bet
Or
your
prune juice.
your dad's
prune
toilet
juice.
is absolutely spamming gleaming, isn't it, mate? He's
He's in there 7 times a day with the bog roll. Goes through 15 pairs of boxes a day.
But
He's
honestly,
resorted to the boxes that he bought them from now. He's like, "Sod it."
dried mango's the one.
Yeah.
That is the one.
Not for
What
me.
did you go for, though?
I bought these after 8 strawberry and mint.
So, but why aren't they just called After 8 Strawberry? Because they're,
Why are
they're
they called
mint anyway.
After 8?
Yeah, they're
I eat them
stupid.
anytime.
Yeah.
Well, I
Actually-
suppose it's after 8 all the time, isn't it, if you think about it?
Yeah, it
it's
was-
9, so
It's
you
after
can
8,
open
no,
it.
but I mean, it's after 8 in the morning, so we can eat, and it's
They're
after 8 at
always
night.
Christmas.
They
Yeah.
only meant the one day. I'll
Yeah,
try it.
Christmas.
Why not?
They only meant the
I've got
8
time.
o'clock.
Oh, right, hang on. There's a
Okay.
there's
Chocolate.
a party game that I used to do at Christmas with
You have
these.
to balance it on your
No,
forehead.
you take it out of the packet,
Yeah.
and what you've got to do is
Eat it.
perfectly inside out the packet, but without ripping it.
Oh, that's a challenge.
So see if you can do it.
Right, let's try it.
That's fucking good, that. That's better than the mango, and I bet it's got a lot more
That's
calories.
like
Oh,
that's like
yeah.
cowpole with chocolate around it.
Oh.
I'm not even joking.
Perfect. Perfect.
It is.
Description.
Yeah.
Like kiddie
That's
cowpole,
amazing.
mate.
And I could drink that by the bottle if I weren't scared I was going to overdose.
I don't know if you can overdose on cowpole.
It's paracetamol.
Yeah.
You'd have
Yeah,
to
but
drink
there's
like
not-
a 2
You
litre
have to
bottle.
drink a lot of it, yeah. But Costco will probably sort you out.
That's what you've been, that's what you've been making your milkshakes out of.
They are really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
so
not
see,
bad.
if, see if you
I've
can do
ripped
the
it.
party trick. It's like I've seen it done once,
Have you
and
really?
it's by my nan, funny enough. It's just
what's
not,
it?
mate. Honestly, she nailed it. I was like,
Was it her
"You
party
wizard."
trick?
No,
No, because she
It really
probably
weren't.
bought one
You're a
inside
wizard, man.
oh no, you're a wizard,
Nanny.
nanny.
Yeah. Oh, it was so
No,
close
I've ripped
there.
it. I've ripped it.
It's like I'd actually pay someone £100 now if they could do it.
Fuck me, I need it. You need this to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, you've
I've
already ripped it.
No,
The
I don't know
concentration.
if
Should we
you
put
can
like a
do it.
countdown
It's
theme
just
tune
gonna
on it? The
tear on the
background.
head, dun,
Oh,
dun,
I heard a
dun,
rip.
dun,
No, it
dun.
didn't
I
rip.
heard a rip.
It didn't rip. I
It
promise
ripped.
you. I promise you it hasn't ripped.
It ripped.
It hasn't ripped.
It looks like one of those origami toys now.
Yeah, one of those things where-
green, blue, or orange?
Where you pick your next girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I got Dave again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue. All you can
He's
hear is
determined.
rustling.
He's giving it a go, isn't he? He likes
Oh, just
Oh,
it.
you
Yes,
ripped
told
it.
you. It's annoying,
tiniest
isn't it?
bit. The
It's
tiniest
how
bit.
annoying is it though?
Yeah.
That is a bar.
You are not a winner.
Well, tried my best, mate.
Exit stage left.
Exit stage left.
Follow the arrows on the floor, mate, and it'll help you till you exit.
Yeah, keep
Oh, that's
take
such
2
a
meters
shame, 'cause I
apart.
think I was really close. Oh no, I fucked it there.
Yeah, it's mate. Honestly, I can't describe. Like,
Fucked
think-
it
I
or
think-
proper fucked it?
Proper fucked it. I
Right,
think your
Dad.
nan was a real wizard.
Yeah.
Is she still kicking about?
she has, but she's got dementia, mate, so she probably won't remember she's done it now. Not
She
gonna lie.
could. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
My nan's got quite severe dementia as well.
Yeah.
Maybe we should. That might be his
Swap
early,
names and see if they
early
recognise.
diagnosis. that's actually.
Lewis, you've gone blonde.
That's probably the only. I was blonde as a kid, so that's probably the only way she
Probably
knows
revert
me.
back to it. Yeah, Lewis. It's like,
All of a sudden she remembers me, or remembers you to
Yeah.
remember me. Maybe that's the way that you should diagnose dementia.
Well, they have.
Take this packet, turn it inside out,
do you remember when you did? Oh,
and just do it. Well, you've got it.
yeah.
Don't they have care homes now that for dementia
Yeah,
patients
my
that have
nan's-
like old newspapers in and stuff? Show
I
old
think
TV
that's-
Oh, do they?
programs.
Oh, that's cost effective, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just buy
It's
one
also
paper in the
pretty cool,
70s,
isn't it?
never change it.
Yeah,
It's just one black and white TV with no remote.
Just
It's like-
watching the bill over and over again.
VHS player.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
That they have to rewind.
Got it on pause.
That's just the patience. Oh, Parkinson's back.
What, the anchor? Like the news anchor?
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah,
Nigel Parkinson
Because
is
he's
back.
not, he's not kicking about anymore, is he?
Is he not?
I don't know.
I think he's still alive, isn't he? I don't think he's like. obviously
Maybe
doing
it's some
anything,
sort of
but-
Mandela effect. I'd love to do an episode on the Mandela effect.
I
That's
don't
well
even.
interesting.
Let's just do 5 minutes on it now, and I can tell you if I want to do a full episode on it.
Right, so the Mandela effect
Argument
is where
for
people, where people, I'll timestamp it, where people remember stuff that hasn't actually happened. So there's loads of information on it, like people will remember that Nelson Mandela got murdered in prison or something when actually he lived till he's like fucking 90.
Is there a
But
film
people
on that?
vividly
think
remember
there is,
him.
Yeah, I might
Will
have
be
to
like,
watch
well, what do you mean he's alive? Nelson Mandela fucking died in prison or whatever.
Well, he is actually dead, just to clarify.
Yeah, but
He
you know
died
what I
a few
mean.
Years ago.
And there's also TV programs, and it's the way you remember because
Yeah.
your memory's false a lot of
Why
the
is it
time.
called the Mandela effect?
Because that was one of the things everyone was like, Nelson Mandela's dead. He got
Yeah.
killed in prison,
But-
and everyone else was like,
And then he was
no,
out there.
No, he wasn't.
No, I was going to try and do a Nelson Mandela.
Let's not.
South
No,
Africa, fucking prawns.
South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah, South Africa.
Don't hide behind your
I
bathroom
need to
door. and
speak
you
to
say-
Denise. I'd love to get Denise on here.
Oh my god.
I don't stand behind that joke.
I didn't hear what he said.
Neither
so-
did she. Oh.
Or he. It's just a bit wonky.
But yeah, it's quite. People remember cartoons
Well,
differently.
Talking about
there's that
hospital
torture,
stories.
wasn't there, as well? Like, that was a big thing back in the day.
Torture?
Yeah, so there was a torture method that like a lot of people used to use to make people go crazy, where they'd pretend like people were dead, that they were really close. So say, for example, like myself and Emily, like I'd be told and convinced
Self and
that she
Turkish.
had died. Yeah, so my amazing Turkish
Delight.
delight. I'd be told over and over and over on a daily basis, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead. That I'd be
That's
led
brutal,
to believe,
isn't it?
and then all of a sudden you're then led to believe. What they do is wean you to the point of you believe you're dead, and everything around you isn't actually. And it, mate, honestly, it, like, sends you,
I
like,
remember you
batshit
telling me
crazy.
something, and I think you thought the same thing
Yeah.
about the train dream.
Yeah, the World War
sync.
II spies.
Just
yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, World War II spies. A way that they. So you've never actually died in a dream, right? No one has
You
ever
always
died.
No, you always wake up on the
Yeah,
point of,
because
don't you?
your brain is convinced that at that moment the reality is the reality. So old World War II spies, if they were behind enemy lines in somewhere that for whatever reason they didn't want to risk smothering them or whatever, and they were sleeping patients, they would be able to make the mind think where they were dreaming, convince them that they had died, and in their dream that would convince the
down.
body, and then that would actually kill them. Yeah, and they used to do.
Wow.
There was a couple of. The
mental,
one that
isn't it?
sticks out in my head was the train. So they'd be next to these people that are asleep and really quietly start by sort of saying, "Oh, get off the tracks, get off the tracks." You know what I mean? Really quietly, and do it louder and louder, and do the train noises. Little tap on the head, and then in their dream they've been hit by a train and gone.
Body shut, because that's the whole point of dreaming, is so your body doesn't shut itself down.
Yes.
Yeah, which is mental, isn't it?
Yeah. So apparently, I mean, I don't know.
I just
how-
want to say kudos for your train noise, mate. It sounded like a gun.
I'm not very good at those.
If that was you, mate, I'd be up from my dream. I'd say, "What the fuck is that?"
Ashley's back again.
Trying to do it again.
I told you to close the fucking window.
And talking about that again, I saw it's a bit off point. I saw one of those history programs at like 3 a.m. that are just one of them shitty TV programs about a
Bigfoot
bloke that had
existing.
2 children. I think they were twins, and he liked one of them, didn't like the other one. So every night he'd put on a tape cassette. So it must have been a while ago of him telling one of the kids to kill the other one. So it'd just be like the cassette was him going, "James, kill your brother. Do it now while he's asleep. Smother him with a pillow."
Just want to say, if you're listening from our previous guest, James, do not kill your brother.
Even if he has fallen out of bed.
Because your mum would probably. That's it.
Yeah, no, but
He was
honestly,
not the cause of that fire.
do not kill him. Yeah, no, but that's fucked up as well. Someone trying to manipulate someone by seeding something into their head when they're
horrible,
asleep.
isn't
Thank you to Emily and Carl and the Beardy Barber
And
Company
the Turkish delight.
for appearing on this for us. Again, you can catch them on
It's been
Instagram.
quite informative as well.
Yeah, it has. It was probably the most educational episode we've had. So thank you for that, guys. It will definitely be tagged as sen or sensory. So thank you for that.
No,
Hopefully that'll
appreciate
be
it. Good.
yeah,
Lovely.
lovely.
Thank
Catch
you
them
for
on
having us.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Catch them on Facebook. Cheers, guys. Thank you for
Lovely.
coming on.